But my beats, they are hard.
Job so we can play them next year in Jackson, and I pray they put us for their damn home.
Well, there it is. Shots fired right off the bat. You prayed on it, and you got it. You prayed for them to schedule you for homecoming, Coach Eddie Robinson, and sure enough, that's what they did, and you got their ass. You got them. Welcome to another episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew, a homecoming nightmare for many schools, especially several schools in the SWAC. Drew, how are you doing tonight?
Brian, I had to go to urgent care last night. After that sickening homecoming defeat on a Hail Mary in Cleve Abbott Memorial Stadium. So, and the doctor told me, like, bro, it's going to be okay, but you are going to have to change your diet. You may have to eat a little bit more crow this week with your diet than what you normally eat.
Yeah, you and folks from Albany State, not far away from where you are, folks in Jackson, Mississippi, folks in Grambling, Louisiana, folks out in that school out in East Florida, Southeast Florida, as we like to call it, over there on the coast. A lot of folks, man, dish served cold. How about this, Drew? We'll just get it out there. Happy homecoming, everybody. Yeah, happy homecoming. Jackson State, Grambling State, Bethune, Tuskegee, Albany State. Happy homecoming to you. Drew, we gotta ask the pertinent question. I posted this on the YouTube poll. Who took the more disappointing, or who had the more disappointing homecoming loss? Was it Jackson State losing to, and I want to make sure I got the stats and everything here. Was it Jackson State losing to Albany State 24-19? Was it Grambling? I believe the worst loss at home.
Alabama State. You said Albany State, and Albany State's on the list, but you called it wrong.
Freudian slip. ASU. Yeah, Freudian slip there. Jackson State losing to Alabama State. Yes, Alabama State. Albany State losing to Allen 39-27. Grambling losing to Alabama A&M. It was a lot of A's right now, so that's what got me all flustered. Alabama A&M beating Grambling. Grambling, one of Grambling's worst loss, I think, is what I read on HBCUsports.com, 45-24. I mean, really? 45 points? Of course, the Edward Waters beating or lost Hail Mary over Tuskegee might have been the biggest win in Edward Waters program history. And let's see, who else? Bethune-Cookman losing to Texas Southern 34-31. And Louisiana Christian beating Texas College 52-7. That was the one that I think was most likely to happen. But I think the other five, at least according to my picks contest, 3 of those I lost because I didn't see those coming. I really thought I did a horrible job on my picks contest this week. But yeah, don't you go gloating too just yet. But yeah, no, it's
Not
tough.
good, Karen. Not good.
How are you doing,
And
Karen? How are you doing? This is the question.
yeah, how you doing? That's the better question.
Right.
And I got to shout out Joshua Jackson because he's the play-by-play voice for the Edward Waters Tigers, also sports information director there for Edward Waters. And I don't know how soon this was after the game was over, but I got a call when I was riding in my car yesterday.
You might have been his first call.
I look at my phone.
You might have been his first
No,
call.
I didn't miss the call. I called it Joshua Jackson. Shh. SH, you know the rest of it. I know what this call about. I just answered the phone. Yeah, bro, y'all got us. Y'all got us real good.
What is the time?
And then
time?
What was the time stamp?
Yeah, what was the time
Hold
stamp?
up, let me
on
go
that
back
call?
and look at my.
Because I gotta
go back
believe
and
you were the
see.
first call. I believe you were the first call. You had to be the first call.
7:27 Eastern, so 6:27 Central Time.
Yeah, you might have been top three. You might have been top three because I figured that's about what time they finally got on the bus and got out of there. And by the time he got settled,
Yeah,
he was like, "Oh, let me call Drew now. Let me call." So you might have been first, second, or third. You were. I bet you anything you were top three. I know Josh is probably watching or will be watching. Josh, you let us know if AD was one of your
he already told me he was watching.
top three. Well, hold on. Speaking of Joshua Jackson, because there are some outstanding calls in this game, good and bad. Let's start with Mr. Jackson and hear his call of the game right here off of the a nice little mix, a little mashup here from the Edward Waters sports radio network. Here's Joshua Jackson with the call, mashed together with the actual video from the ESPN broadcast, which good friend Jamie Walker was on the call. Jamie was in disbelief as well. But here's that match.
Bryan, here's the answer.
You were first. I knew it. You were the first call. Look, even before he did the post-game article, I knew you were the first call. I knew it. I knew you were the first call. Kudos. Exactly, Josh. That's how you get them. But let's hear this great call by Joshua Jackson.
Love you, bro.
Here's the ball game here. Takes the snap. Russell back to pass. Russell looking. Russell's going to throw near side. This one is going to be tipped. It is. Did he make the catch? Gone! Touchdown, Tigers! Touchdown, Tigers! Touchdown, Tigers! Touchdown, Tigers! Arsiah McCorker! Are you kidding me? The Hail Mary is answered! Arsiah McCorker! Touchdown, Edward Waters! Oh my goodness!
Beautiful call there by Josh.
Great call, Josh. I only got one criticism.
Hold on. Look,
it was against my team. That's the only criticism I got. It was against Tuskegee.
True broadcast professional, because he did one of those things where he created a headline, and so I don't know if I hadn't even looked if he used this during the actual article that he posted, but the prayer. What do you say? The prayer was answered. Beautiful job of being able to tie in the Hail Mary with the dramatic finish, and he did a good job to not cuss, because I know there was a lot of other people around there who were cussing, good and bad cussing, as they like to say, as your mama might used to say. So for a true broadcast professional, Joshua Jackson
Very good.
Yeah.
And Bryan, along with the thrill of victory, there is the agony
of defeat. Yeah.
We go to that call.
Yeah, right here now. This was audio, but you're going to see the video version of it. This was the audio call from the Tuskegee Sports Radio Network. Of course, we air the audio broadcast of Tuskegee games right here on the Black College Sports Network. So the play-by-play and color. Give a shout out to those two gentlemen again, Drew.
It's Frank Lee on the call. And former Tuskegee linebacker, Denver Bronco, Ken Woodard on the analysis of the play. And let's set this call up. We actually picked this up on the play before the Hail Mary when they threw the ball down to the end zone, and that ball was batted down. That's where we're going to pick up the call, because you have to hear how that call was made when Tuskegee thought they won the game to understand the air being let out of the balloon on the next play. Go ahead, Brian. I can't push the button.
1st and 10 from the 46, has a man in motion. His right, takes his time, on a count, sets up, wants to throw long. Right has time, throws long. He fires it out. It's going to be batted down. It's over. It's over. It's over. 2 seconds left in the ball game. It's not over yet. 2 ticks left in the ball game. 38-35 is your score. 2.1 seconds in the ball game.
There we go. We got a taller guy back there.
Second down and 10, ball on the 46-yard line.
Okay, Drew, can I pause it here? For a second? Let me pause here, because we just saw what happened on that play. There's 2.1 seconds. Now, at any point in time as you're watching what happened the first time, are you changing your strategy? Do you wish, or are you thinking, hey, Coach James, why not send a 4th person instead of just rushing 3? Thoughts?
Brian, how often does a Hail Mary get answered?
I mean, that's a if that's how you look at it. But that's not the. But when it happens, though, I mean, it happens on you, and you could have.
You get this. You get this. Yeah. Now, I don't know how many of those guys back there were actually defensive backs versus, sometimes teams will put wide receivers back there who just happen to be taller just to knock the ball down. But what's a wide receiver's natural tendency to do, or their tall tight end? Their tendency is to go up and try to catch the ball. And human nature may sometimes take over where you going up, and whereas a defensive back is taught to bat the ball down. So Brian, you work on this in practice, but you really don't work on this in practice, if that makes sense.
I don't like that comment. I want you working on it. I want you working on it every day, because you have to avoid these things. 2 opportunities.
You work on this about as much as you work on a. Yeah.
They got
as much as you go live on a punt block or a field goal block in practice.
Yeah, but
you don't do it too often live because of the quote unquote liability with this particular play.
I'm still gonna side with, if you get a second chance, you have to do something different. You just saw him look, he got so close. Everyone had to be looking like, ooh, that was close. Hey, coach, you might want to send a 4th person, not just 3. Send a 4th one, just in case. Maybe a delayed 4th rush. I'm just saying. But let's listen to the call.
They put number 22 Hodges back there
for one play.
Hodges, rather.
They got everybody back.
They got the tall guy there. They got a 6'4", 6'5" back there. Get that ball out the air.
Prevent defense. Here's the play.
He's throwing again.
Throws long. It's going to be.
And he caught the ball. He caught the ball. He caught the ball.
Can you believe that? Edward Waters, with 2 seconds left, catches the football. This is one that's going to go down in the wire. Touchdown, Edward Waters. They catch it with 2 seconds left, and the Golden Tigers fall for the first time, and Edward Waters win the ball game with 2 seconds left.
Heartbreaking.
And that's where the audio dropped because I don't know what happened in there, but the audio just got clipped.
Yeah, great call there by Frank Lee and
Ken Woodard.
Ken Woodard, thank you. I was sitting there and I'm trying. I knew it was on the tip of my tongue. Great call there. I mean, even in the agony of defeat. But again, I go back to, I think the big play. Now, granted, the big play and what was kind of surprising and props to Toriano Morgan, because the big play is how Edward Waters got to the 46-yard line, because previously they were on their 32-yard line. So they completed, let me do the math here, almost a 20-yard play, which got them to the 46-yard line. So that part should not be understated. It was about a 22 yards, 22-yard play, which got them to the 46. And there was 10 seconds left. And I'm thinking, okay, now they had no timeouts, but I'm thinking, okay, Toriano Morgan, you got 2 plays, maybe 1 play towards the sideline, and then get close enough to maybe heave it and be a little bit closer. But I mean, look, when you got a cannon in your back pocket and you can throw a rope like that, hey, I think Coach Morgan kind of knew what he was working with, and he basically threw a 50-yard, 55-yard spiral into the end zone, and a man caught it. Hey, Tuskegee defenders, even if you pass interfere, guess what? It's only 15 yards. That too could have happened. I would have mugged every Edward Waters receiver, and not, especially after. And this is why I'm saying that this is the thing. Now, I know Tuskegee didn't have any timeouts, but you still had 2. You gave 2 opportunities there. I'm thinking you got to be telling those guys, hey, if anybody looks like they get kind of open, mug the heck out of them. Hold them. Do not let anybody jump. Let the official have to call that. Because worst case, it's 15 yards and you get another play. Let me go back to one other interesting coaching decision in that game. What did you think with the score 35-24, Edward Waters leading, Tuskegee scoring a touchdown to cut it to 35-30 and going for 1 instead of 2, which meant when Tuskegee did score their go-ahead touchdown, they had to score a touchdown instead of having an opportunity to kick a field goal. That almost blew up in Coach James's face, but, they got a touchdown on that as well. What do you think about that?
Obviously, Coach James had confidence in his defense, which is why you go for the 1 instead of the 2. At that point, if Coach Drew is on the sideline calling the plays, I go for the 2, because going for the 2 in that situation can only benefit you. It cannot hurt you, because if you don't get the 2, you're still in the same position as if you get the 1 and it's down 4. You still got to get a touchdown. So it can only benefit you by putting you in where you only need a field goal, which opens up your playbook a little bit more, because you don't need that extra 30 yards or so in order to get a score. So, that's the big thing. And I got to say one thing about that call, the Tuskegee call with Frank Lee and Ken Woodard. If you know these 2 guys, like I know these 2 guys, for there to be radio silence on a broadcast,
yes,
is not common. Frank Lee has been doing this for well over 30 plus years, and for him to be left speechless on a broadcast, it tells you the magnitude of that victory by Edward Waters. And like Josh said, it's easily the biggest win in the modern era of Edwards Waters football. As we know, Edward Waters dropped football, I believe, in the 60s and then picked it back up in the 90s. So easily one of the biggest wins, if not the biggest win. Like Josh reminds me, we beat them 71-0 when Comedy was coach.
Yeah. And this is the thing, one more interesting stat in that game. Talk about snatching. I like to use the phrase, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. That was a game in which Tuskegee had committed 5 turnovers and were down 35-24 and scored 2 touchdowns with 24 seconds. So, I mean, imagine going from, man, we have committed 5 turnovers. We have given Edward Waters every opportunity to beat us in this game. We've beaten ourselves. I'm sure a lot of that is what they were thinking and saying. And to be down 35-24 in the fourth quarter and to score 2 touchdowns, I mean, that almost became one of those it became a memorable homecoming. But on a different note for Tuskegee, that almost turned into one of the greatest comebacks, given 5 turnovers. You're not supposed to beat a team when you commit 5 turnovers, Drew. Obviously you didn't.
So,
but you were 20 seconds away.
You're not even supposed to be in a position.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in a position.
20 seconds. 2 seconds, Brian. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
I'm sorry.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. So, Brian, in other words, Tuskegee took a victory from the jaws of defeat, and then Edward Waters took it back.
Yes, they did. Took it right out their mouth.
All right.
Took it right out their mouth. Yes. In the middle of chewing. They just stuck their hand in their mouth and said, "Give me that food. I'll eat it. Give me that victory. I'll eat it." What is that? What did your boy say? Let's eat a W. Let's eat a W. There you go. So props to Edward Waters. 4 in a row. 4 wins in a row. I told you. I know you didn't want to pick that game, but I told you I would have picked that.
And that's why.
I told you.
This is why I didn't want to pick this game.
I would have picked that game, and I was going to roll with Edward Waters. So I was happy for them. I've enjoyed watching that team play, and that's a scary team coming down the stretch. Hold on, can we transition to another scary team in the SIC that played homecoming heavyweight, knocking out Albany State by a final score of 39-20. 39-27. No, it does, even though Albany State had won 4 in a row coming into the contest. Didn't shock you.
Did not shock me.
Allen
that one
scored,
did not shock you.
Allen had jumped out to an 18-0 lead with about 10, almost a little less than 11 minutes in the second quarter before Albany State had scored their first touchdown on a one-play Deontay Bono to Rashad Jordan 52-yard pass. And then on the next possession, they scored again to cut it to 18-14 going into halftime. Allen came out and answered. David Wright with a 24-yard run to take it to 25-14. Albany State got close again with an 80-yard touchdown pass from Bono to Kieran Jackson, 80 yards, cuts it to 25-21. But then Allen on a 5-play, 47-yard drive goes up 32-21 and then adds an insurance touchdown to go up 39-21 with a minute 36 to go in the fourth quarter, and that was all she wrote. Albany got a score there right at the end of the game to really make it look a little better. But Allen goes to 5-1, 4-1 in conference play. Albany State drops to 4-3 overall, their first loss in conference play. And so now, Drew, when I go and look at the SIC standings, you only have Benedict.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you only have Benedict sitting unbeaten.
Yeah, but look at all those one-loss teams.
Yeah, so going through the standings here, Benedict is 5-0 in conference play. Fort Valley State 5-1. Allen, Tuskegee, Miles, and Albany State all sitting at 4-1. Then you have Edward Waters at 4-2, and pretty much that's the line. Nobody else really after that, in my opinion, has a shot.
I don't think anybody else has more than one win after that.
Correct. That's correct. So you've got 7 teams now, sitting there with 4 wins, and 6 of them have 1 loss. Well, 5 of them have 1 loss. Benedict has none, and Edward Waters has 2. Yeah.
So here's the thing, Brian. Basically, you've got 6 teams fighting it out for one slot. Because Benedict is pretty much a given at this point. And you know what's so interesting about this? And I hope I don't eat crow with this by calling Benedict a given, because
yeah, and I was going to say,
are you wrong a couple of times?
Is Benedict a given? Are they a given though? You said that. I mean, they feel like a given, but
yeah. Here's the thing, Brian. Although we have 6 teams in contention, and somebody in here earlier said something about tiebreakers in the SIAC, under this new format, which I am growing to love more and more each day, the chances of us having to go deep into the tiebreakers are going to be minimal, because all the top contenders still have to play at least 1, if not 2 games against each other to finish off the season in these next 3 weeks. Now, I'm going to quickly go down everyone's schedule. Albany State, 5-1, correct? 4-1. Albany State said 4-1.
4-1.
They have Edward Waters, who's hot, who's right behind them in the standings. They've got Miles, who's tied with them in the standings. And then they have Fort Valley, who's a half a game ahead of them in the standings. Guess what, Albany State? You control your destiny. Let's move down the line. Allen has Miles this Saturday, and it's Miles' homecoming, who's tied with you in the standings. Edward Waters, who sits directly behind you in the standing in the, I believe it's called the AME Classic. And then you have crosstown rival Benedict. Allen, guess what? You control your own destiny. And Brian, wouldn't it be interesting if Allen and Benedict play each other back-to-back weeks? But if Benedict wins out, probably the only way that's going to happen is if Allen defeats Benedict. Because a loss with all these teams bunched up in there together, a loss by Allen to Benedict on the last game of the season would probably drop them behind one of these other one-loss teams. This is fun, Brian. Benedict, Clark Atlanta. No, excuse me, wrong line. Benedict has Kentucky State, Savannah State, Allen. That's why I say Benedict is pretty much a lock. Allen is the only game against a team above 500 remaining on their schedule.
Let's not call them a lock. Let's say they're if we had an index to say if we had an index to say what's their percentage of winning, it's over 80%. Wouldn't that sound right? It's over 80%.
Allen is the only team above 500 remaining on Benedict's schedule.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Moving on down the line. Edward Waters has, let's see, they have Morehouse. They should get that one. They have Lynchburg in a non-conference. And then they have, check that. I'm on the wrong line.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They have Albany State.
Correct.
I'm on the wrong line. They have Albany State.
At home.
Allen and Lynchburg. Edward Waters only has 2 conference games remaining to get their business handled. Right. If they get those 2 victories, when they play Lynchburg, that's going to be one of those, do we rest everybody and wait and see games? Now, let's flip it over. Fort Valley.
I feel like
Morehouse.
we need a graphic for all this, but go ahead.
Yeah, we should have did a graphic. Morehouse, Lynchburg, non-conference, and then you have the Fountain City Classic. Anything can happen in the Fountain City Classic, though, Brian. But can you imagine the Fountain City Classic being for that second spot? Miles.
Yeah.
Okay, Miles. Allen for homecoming, Albany State, Tuskegee. And our last team in contention.
Toughest road is right there for Miles. Miles has the toughest stretch.
I'll see that Miles toughest stretch and raise you Allen and Albany State. Allen with Miles, Edward Waters, Benedict, Albany State with Edward Waters, Miles, Fort Valley.
But I say that with respect that when I look at who's playing well, Allen's playing well. Like next to the three teams that are playing their best right now are Benedict, Allen, and Edward Waters. Those are the three teams that are playing their best. Now, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, like over the last 2 to 3 weeks, because it's like this season is chopped up into thirds. So if we look at the middle third of the season, Benedict, Edward Waters, Allen, those three teams are playing the best ball right now.
All right. Last schedule, Brian. Tuskegee has Savannah State, Clark, and Miles. Savannah State and Clark have a combined 1 win. So that definitely favors Tuskegee in that particular matchup. And then Miles, Tuskegee, anything goes. Golden Tigers have to travel to face the Golden Bears in Fairfield, Alabama. So it's going to be fun coming down the stretch in the SIAC.
Yeah, have no idea how that's gonna play out. That's gonna be interesting to kind of watch the numbers and really kind of analyze where things are gonna go. How soon before we get the NCAA region rankings?
After next week's games, they come out with the full list. It will be an alphabetical list. And then after week 9 is when they actually rank them 1 through 10. So you get the watch list next week. And then the week after that is when you get the actual list.
All right. That'll be interesting. All right. We got look, among all of the football talk, and we got some more football talk to hit on here. The GCAC was making all kinds of big news over the course of the past week, and one of those schools that is going to be, well, actually, what I can say, or what did come out, is that three schools did join or did agree to join the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference over the past week, and that was in case you missed it. That was Voorhees University. Voorhees is located in South Carolina. Wilberforce University, located in Ohio. First. And then, I didn't know who was first. I was just reading the three here. And then Stillman College announced on the end of this past week that they are going to rejoin the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference after some time away. So we've got a conversation scheduled with the athletic director and the head baseball coach of Stillman College, Coach Terrance Whittle. So let's do this. Let's take a short break, and let's see if we've got the director of athletics for Stillman College ready to join us, and we'll find out about this move, and we'll get into some more football talk coming up here later on in the show. Of course, Coach Farasi Norman is going to be joining us at the top of hour 2. So you are watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D here. We will have to reschedule our conversation with Coach Whittle as he is occupied doing coaching type things. So we will we'll have him. I'm sure we'll reschedule him. But that gives us more time to catch up on some of the action in the SWAC. First off,
I know where I want to start.
Well, hold on. Let me reset for a lot of people who may not have been aware. 14 schools were on homecoming this past Saturday. As a note, 15 are on homecoming this upcoming Saturday. Of the 14, 6 schools lost. Again, in case you missed our wonderful graphic there. Those schools are Jackson State, Grambling, Bethune-Cookman of the SWAC, Tuskegee, Albany State of the SIC, and Texas College. And if you're on YouTube, I know there was a poll. If you look in I know it's a poll that comes up and asks you the worst. I think I said the most disappointing homecoming loss. Who would you give that to? And obviously, again, Alabama A&M beating Grambling 45-24. Alabama State, in sort of a payback for going and beating them. Jackson State beat them on their homecoming, and there was all that talk last year. That's where remember last year for Alabama State's homecoming, that's where what is SWAC? Who is SWAC? He ain't SWAC. I'm SWAC. That's where all that came out. And so, of course, it ended with Coach Robinson dropping that famous line, "I hope they schedule us for homecoming next year." Well, prayers answered. And or I don't think he said he hopes. He said he prayed on it. He prayed on it. So
can we stay away from the praying references for the remainder of the show, Bryan? I'm a little traumatized over here.
My bad. Sorry, Drew. Yeah. So that was and then what's funny is I went through a couple other homecoming games. There was a few games that were only won by like a possession. Johnson C. Smith only beating St. Aug 14-6. Lincoln, PA beating East Elizabeth City State 27-21. I think Lincoln won their 4th game, something like that. I think that was their 4th win of the season, which I think was, I read somewhere, I forgot where I read it. I'm going to have to look it up real quick. That was the first time that has happened in a long time. Tennessee State held off Norfolk State 24-17. Yeah, so, and then of course Virginia Lynchburg, Drew, you called this, got the first win. Now, did you go and do the background on this? Is this win number 1 in how many years? What's the background?
They won 2 games in 2021, Brian.
Okay, that was the last time they won a game, was 2021.
2021, and then prior to that, it was 3 years prior to that before they had won the game.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Okay, so yeah. Which game do you want to start at here among these SWAC games? What game you just kind of shaking your head like, wow?
If Tuskegee Edward Waters was the most disappointing loss, this has to be number 2, Brian, and this is Grambling State, Alabama A&M. Why is this one number 2 on my list? Because 2 weeks ago, we were just talking about Grambling State in position to run away with the SWAC West.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, after losing to Alcorn on Alcorn's homecoming, and then losing their own homecoming, people once again are chirping in Mississippi about Coach Hugh. Let's put this loss into perspective, Brian. Alabama A&M and Grambling have met 29 times on the gridiron, Brian. Grambling leads the series 21-8. That is only the second time ever, let me say that, not ever, that Alabama A&M has defeated Grambling in Grambling. That is their first win since 2011. And the final stat, this was the first loss on homecoming by the G-Men since 2006. That is easily why this has to be the number 2 of the disappointing losses on homecoming.
Yeah. Hey.
Special privilege, Brian. Jamie Walker, you guys did a great job. Jamie Walker was on the ESPN Plus. I don't know if it was on Plus or 3, but you guys did a great job capturing that last play. Also, just the fact that we don't have the media rights to play that is why we didn't play that on the show, Jamie. But you guys did a great job on that call also. Just want to give you guys a shout out. So I had the home call, Brian. I had the away call, and I had the neutral call. Then I listened to all 3 of them, and all 3 of them were excellent.
Yeah, I was listening to Jamie's call live, so that's the one I caught. And like I said, I just think there's a lot of some interesting points there. But look, I think the Grambling loss, a lot of things 2 weeks ago, think about where we were. And I think I'm looking at the standings now in the SWAC West. Okay. And this is the dilemma of trying to put together your top 10 this week. Because when you really think about it, you had the top 2 teams, FAMU and North Carolina Central, on a bye. They were resting this week. So
they stay wherever you had them at.
Exactly. If you had them at one if you had them at 2, that's probably where you're keeping them. And this is the rest of my top 10. Now, I'm just going to read my top 10. My top 10, I had Jackson State at 3, lost. Tennessee State won against Norfolk State. Hampton was at 5, lost, big time lost. Grambling, number 6, lost. Norfolk State was 7, lost. Alcorn actually was on a bye. They were 8th. 9 was Prairie View. They lost to Houston Baptist, shut out 30-0, loss. Alabama A&M, they were 10, got to win. You know, the only other teams who were outside, you know, people have kind of in their discussions and thoughts. You obviously had Southern, who picked up a win, but that was against a non-NCAA, non-NAIA school. Alabama State, obviously, with the win over Jackson State. And for some reason, people still keep putting Howard in their mouth. I don't know why, because Howard lost to Harvard. I mean, come on now, stop it. I mean, somehow Howard is going to find themselves in the next 5 weeks. Anything's possible. MEAC play is about to begin. Anything can happen.
Howard needs to stop scheduling schools that begin with the H in non-conference play. It's just that simple. Just like the Texas schools need to stop playing Christian schools in the non-conference. Yeah. Texas Southern, Prairie View cannot beat Christian schools in the state of Texas in the non-conference.
Yeah, no,
Howard can't beat anybody with an H. Can't beat Hampton. Can't beat Harvard.
That's tough. Yeah, look, is Houston. I don't know. Is Houston Baptist that good, or is Prairie View that bad? I don't know. Well, I don't know how to answer that, because Prairie View is 3-4 overall, but they're 3-1 in conference play.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Prairie View, and this is why you almost need to discount Prairie View as one of your SWAC West contenders. Because let's face it, even the bottom dwellers of the East are better than the West, it appears. So we're looking at the schedule of the contenders in the East, out in the West right now.
You cannot say that.
Valley B. Wait a minute. You got
two
Valley
bottom dwellers just beat another bottom dweller.
Right.
Texas
right.
Southern,
and that was in the East.
Bethune. Texas Southern.
Okay,
just
so
beat
Bethune. Okay, so tomato. But let's look at the top teams. The top teams cannot beat the top teams in the East. The top 4 in the West cannot beat the top 4 in the East. It seems that simple. And who is the one West team that still has 2 East opponents on their schedule? Prairie View, who still has Florida A&M, who's 1, and Alabama State, who's 2, or tied for 2 in the East. Prairie View has the toughest road to get to that West crown. Just quickly, just looking at the crossover matchups, of course, you know, Alcorn has Jackson State, Grambling, Alabama State. We already talked about Prairie View and Southern. Southern is done. Southern is done. All of their games are against. Check that. Southern has Bethune this Saturday in Jacksonville. So those are your crossover matchups. Everything else is in conference. I mean, in division with those Western contenders.
Let me go to the Alabama State win, because what the Alabama State win did is it opened up things over on the eastern side for Florida A&M. Now, you know, I had a few people hit me up thinking that it wrapped up the East for FAMU. which I mean, I may have jokingly said that in a few places, but it's not true. There's still some ball left to play. It's too early to say that cemented it, but so I'm reading right here out of HBCU Sports. The win, or I should say, the Jackson State loss, dropped Jackson State's record to 2-2, putting them in a 3-way tie with Alabama State and Alabama A&M. Florida A&M has the tiebreaker over Alabama State and Jackson State. Now, obviously, Alabama A&M has Alabama State in the Magic City Classic in 2 weeks, and they have a shot at
that's essentially an elimination game. Magic City Classic becomes an elimination game.
For Alabama A&M, it does. Let me see. Hold on.
Even Alabama State,
Alabama State
defeats
right.
Alabama State. At least they can still hang around. Alabama State done. It's over. Alabama A&M, of the three, Alabama A&M is the one that best controls its own destiny. They don't control it yet. FAMU has to drop one in order for them to control their own destiny. But Alabama's A&M is in the best position should FAMU drop a game this season amongst those three who are tied right now.
Right. So according to this, the Bulldogs would be
incorrect, Lawrence.
Hold on. I'm. What is he saying? No. Look.
If A&M wins out, no. FAMU has to lose one first before Alabama A&M even has a prayer.
Let me finish reading, and then then
sorry.
Lawrence may. No. I'm talking to Lawrence. The Bulldogs, Alabama A&M, need FAMU to lose a game, and would need to win against them on November 4th, while of course not losing until then, i.e. what? The Magic City Classic, to overtake them in first place of the division. Okay? So that's what's at stake for Alabama A&M. Just so we're clear. For Alabama State and Jackson State, they got a much tougher road, needing FAMU to lose 3 of its 4 remaining conference games to win out to claim the Southeast top spot. And that's all the while not losing themselves. And we all know they have tough games as well. So, let's not crown anybody yet. I mean, FAMU has to travel to Houston. They got to play Texas Southern, who they look pretty good. And we'll talk to Coach Farasi coming up here at the top of hour 2. He was watching that game, so I know he was really juiced about what he saw from Texas Southern. And so that'll be interesting to see. But, let's not crown anybody yet. There's still these next – look, just as much as the last 2 weeks have flipped what we thought, these next 2 weeks are going to once again cause us to rethink what we thought we knew today. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And here's the thing, Brian. Don't let Alabama A&M beat FAMU, because now that puts the pressure on FAMU in the Florida Classic. And we've seen crazier stuff happen in the Florida Classic when it comes to FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. And every Rattler within the sound of my voice remembers 2018. That's all I am going to say about that. If you're not a Rattler, Google it. You will understand what I'm talking about. 3 games up with how we needed 1 win with 3 to play. Was that it?
No, it
in
was
the MEAC. We needed 1 more win, and we didn't get them.
Yeah, they had 2 games that counted, and they needed to win one of those 2. What hurt is there were 3 games, and they lost all 3 of them. So,
yes,
yeah. Let me give a couple other mentions here, some other breakaways, some other interesting stuff here that I'm reading from out of this article off of HBCUsports.com. And it was something else that I was thinking. I called out the fact that the CIAA South, remember I told you about that matchup between Livingstone and Fayetteville State, how that might help determine what? The CIA South. Well, Fayetteville ended up winning that contest. It was ugly, 19-14. They maintain its 5-0 record. They are a game ahead of Johnson C. Smith, who was 4-1, and they defeated St. Aug 14-6. Next weekend is a matchup between Fayetteville and Johnson C. Smith. And then, of course, somehow, Winston-Salem, I don't know how, is technically still in the running for a division crown. They went to 3-2 after defeating Shaw 41-20. So depending on the result of the game between Fayetteville State and Johnson C. Smith, the Rams could have a shot to overtake both teams for that division. I don't see that happening, but I think all eyes will be on Johnson C. Smith, Fayetteville State. And then if I could give one other CIAA shout out, how about to Lincoln, PA? Lincoln, PA, the Lions, for the first time since the program was revived in 2008, Lincoln has a chance at producing a winning season. They won their third straight after knocking off Elizabeth City State 27-21. They are now 4-3. And technically, they still have a chance at winning its first ever CIA North Division title. Again, was one of those mathematically you're still alive, but looking at who's in front of them in the North, hey, that'd be a heck of an upset. Holding a 3-2 record in conference action, Lincoln has games against Virginia Union and Virginia State. So, hey, look, Drew, anything's possible, right? You got the big dogs on the menu. You want to eat? You want to win the North? Well, hey, go beat Virginia Union and Virginia State. Good luck doing that, though. Should they win their season finale hold on, I forgot to add a team. As well as their season finale against Bowie State, and Virginia State loses a game, they would be crowned division champs. So yeah, that's a tough road. That's a final 3 games. That's a tough final.
As we found out this weekend, Bryan, prayers sometimes get answered.
I thought we weren't doing any more prayer stuff.
No, I asked you not to do it. I never said that I couldn't use it.
Good point. Appreciate that. Appreciate that right up there. Jared Hoffman over at HBCUsports.com. Shout out to him and them. Let me see. We went through I don't know what to do with my top 10 rankings. I really feel like I'm going to roll a dice and I'm just going to see who ends up where. You know, I mean, honestly, after in the Division I side, after FAMU, Central, and Tennessee State, it's a roll of the dice. Who's 4 and 5? Who's 6 through 10? And then, is it any better on the non-Division I mid-major side? After Benedict and Virginia State, who's the third best team? Probably Union. Maybe Union. I mean, so
I can give you mine quickly.
After Union, look at this cluster. After Union, Tuskegee, Fort Valley State, Fayetteville State, Miles, Allen, Florida Memorial, who lost, West Virginia State. Did they win over the weekend?
They didn't play.
So they're on bye. Albany State is a team many people think about. They lost. Who else is a team that I didn't mention that people are hot? Isn't Langston on a bit of a winning streak right now, like 4 in a row or something like that? Do we need to start paying attention again to Langston? Because we kind of forgot about them after they lost those first 2 games to open the year, especially to division lead over in that conference. I don't know. I think I'm let me hear your 10. Maybe I'll get inspired. Larry Sargent's asking, are we going to talk about it? Yeah, I don't know. What is there to talk about?
Can't do that, Lawrence.
What is there to talk about? Fayetteville State. No way. Put that up there.
No way, Lawrence. Can't do that. Can't do that.
I don't think they're. I
mean, we
gotta put Allen at 4. Really, I gotta put Allen at 4.
No, I can't even put Allen at 4.
Let me hear your.
So
let me
you
hear
got
your top.
one. Okay.
You,
obviously, Benedict, the 2 Virginia schools, State, Union would be 3.
Okay.
You really have to go with a Miles who lost to the number 1 team by less than 1 score, had a chance to beat the number 1 team in Benedict, and lost to a FCS team by 1 point. Who out there has a better resume about those teams that you're talking about in that cluster, Brian?
Let me go look at Allen's loss. Who was Allen's loss to? Allen lost to.
Allen got wallywhopped by Benedict. No, not by Benedict, by Fort Valley. Who got wallywhopped by Benedict.
I don't know that word you're using. I have no idea what. Anyway, Miles. No, you know why I can't give Miles any props? Because they lost to UAPB. I'm sorry. You lost to UAPB.
FCS D2, Brian.
Nah, that's that. No, UAPB is like a D2 team. That's like a D2 squad. I'm sorry.
But Brian, okay. Let's flip that though. Let's flip that, Brian. They beat the team that sits in second place in the SWAC East.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Yeah.
You gotta put Miles forward if you're doing
all
human power.
All right. I'm okay. You just sold me on that. You sold me on my, and you know what? I do have Miles ahead of Allen.
5.
Go ahead.
So 5. Now the debate comes between Allen and Fort Valley. But since Fort Valley has a head-to-head, I have to put Fort Valley at 5.
Yeah, but
we'll stop it right there.
You're doing what old school, what a lot of pollsters do. You're looking at week to week. When was that? Allen beat Fort Valley when? Week
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Brian.
It wasn't 2 weeks ago, was it?
We're not talking week 1. Yes.
November. It was September 30th. That was 1, 2. Yeah, it was
2 weeks ago. So let's talk about it, Brian. That has to be your 5. Let's flip over to the major division, the
all right
FCS team. Obviously, we know who the top 3 are.
Okay.
FAM and Central, 1, 2. Whatever your preference is, you won't get an argument with me either way on who you put 1 and who you put 2, because there are arguments on both sides.
Central 1, but go ahead. I'm just messing. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use the Josh factor on this one, and he brought up a very good point. Oh. Those 2 teams have one common opponent, and when you look at Central's victory over that common opponent versus FAMU's victory over that common opponent, and that common opponent is Valley.
The location was completely different. That is not, you can't do that.
I will give you that. But it's just a factor. It's just something to think about.
If North Carolina Central had to travel across country on a bus through Mississippi, I would love to see
how. We know what happened last time they did travel to Mississippi.
Thank you. What
just remember what happened last time they did travel to Mississippi.
Say it for everybody. Drew. What happened last time they traveled?
Last time they traveled and played them in Itabena, we know what happened.
Say it, Drew.
Anyway,
say it.
They lost.
Thank you. Why? Because that trip to Itabena is murder. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I mean it's a tough travel.
That's not an easy trip. Just say it. It is not an easy place to get to. Is Itabena, Mississippi.
going to Indianapolis in good, nice hotel, the beautiful city of Indianapolis, Indiana, my hometown. I mean, that's like going to the Ritz-Carlton versus where, FAMU had to go. I'm just saying. I mean, hell, if FAMU had gone, had gone to Indianapolis, FAMU might have put up 50. I'm just saying. Anyway, go ahead.
But Brian,
here's
the thing.
Get out.
You splitting hairs between which one you put one, which one you pick.
We are.
Okay. Tennessee State right now is a clear 3.
Right now.
After that, put them in a hat, and which number you pull out, you pull them out. Right now, I would go with Alcorn 4, just on the simple fact they did not play this week.
That is horrible.
And last time we saw Alcorn, what? They got a W last time we saw them.
You know what?
Who else? Out of the rest of that group that you got, who got a W last time you saw them? Alabama A&M. You gonna really put them in for? That's the only other team in that cluster that actually won their last game.
It feels dirty moving a team up 4 spots on my poll, because right now, last week I had Alcorn State 8. It feels dirty moving them 4 spots, and they didn't do a thing. But sit home. They did as much work on the field as I did. I feel dirty.
But sometimes, guess what? Sometimes everybody else mucks it up so bad that they just fall below you, Brian.
But look. But what it leaves me with, Drew, hold on. Look at their record here. Alcorn, a 3-3 team. Are they really better than 4-3 Jackson State? Are they really better than 4-3 Alabama A&M? I mean, yeah, I know
they're definitely better than 4-3 Alabama A&M, because 2 of those victories that Alabama A&M have over Division II teams. So I definitely will put them ahead of Alabama A&M.
And then again, look at this. Remember, don't forget the cluster of Grambling, Alcorn, and Prairie View. So that still is a thing. I mean, last time I went and looked at the standings, let me see. Well, because Graham. See, I mean, I don't know, Drew. I'm gonna feel dirty either way.
I'm just saying,
I'm feel dirty.
Yeah.
All right,
Brian, you're taking a bath. You're taking a bath in yesterday's water. That's the problem with these teams.
That feels dirty. All right, let's
talk to Coach.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and take a break. Get ready to talk to Coach.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Cavill. Thank you.
It's week to week. Yeah, I guess so. So if it's week to week, then I have to evaluate it based on through looking at the prism of 6 to 7 games right now. Who is playing? See, you didn't have to put that up there, Drew. Take that down.
What?
Take that down. I hate Jacksonville, John. There you go.
This week?
I can't stand the city of Jacksonville and seeing my Colts come to Jacksonville. There you go. There. How about them? Yeah, anyway. Let's go to break. You piss me off now. Throwing that up there. I was doing good until I was reminded how bad my Colts are when they go to the city of Jacksonville. And my dumb ass continues to think they're gonna win in that city. God bless it. All right, you're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Coach Farasi Norman's coming up right after this break. Hang in with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories, officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D. here, joining us in his usual time slot, kind of, sort of hour two. It's Coach Farasi Norman. I think he's got to get his audio situation figured out. So Coach will be joining us in just a second. Hit the like button, you guys who are watching us on Facebook.
While we wait on him, Bryan.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me finish the read here. Let me get the promos out. You're watching us wherever you're watching on the stream.
To the read, man.
Well, I'm trying to get it in here. I don't think I've said it. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the share. Go ahead and share the show. If you're not already subscribed to the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page here, you can go ahead and do that right now. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everybody who continues to support the Black College Sports Network. You can do so in many ways. You can download that Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Just search MyJBN, MyBCSN. You can also go check out the BCSN Pod Zone podcast of all of our shows. Saturdays, Carlos Brown Show is now available. And soon you'll be able to hear this morning's show featuring Dr. Cavill and, the Sunday morning recap, as well as this show. That, too, will be available on the BCSN Pod Zone, everywhere you listen and download podcasts. Just search BCSN Pod Zone. All right. I think we got Coach Norman. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Once again, beautiful Sunday. Good to see you, brothers. As I was watching the show before I turned over, I was just thinking, you got me, you, Drew, 3 black men, well-educated, all graduated from HBCUs, and we all got on black shirts.
But there's a reason behind me wearing black.
Yeah, me too.
I'm born.
Oh, yeah, death in the family?
No, I had death in my family. It was in my Golden Tiger family, my Tuskegee family. That homegoing service that we had yesterday, and we had the Ember Waters Tigers officiating it.
Hey, that play will go down in history, and it will last in HBCU for a very, very long time. Like, wow. I mean, it was just.
Let's start there with the. That was one of the games you did get a chance to watch that one, correct, Coach?
Yes, sir, I did.
So let's go with the way that game played out going into the fourth quarter. I found some of the coaching decisions by Coach James of Tuskegee very interesting. Starting with being up 30. He's down 35-24. And I was trying to pull up the box score here so I could get the time on this. But essentially, they're down 35-24. They score a touchdown with the time escapes me. But
it was late in the fourth. It was late in the fourth when they got that touchdown when they went up by 3. I'm thinking.
No. I'm going back one here. Hold on. I got the summary pulled up. Okay. 4:26 So they scored on a 5-play, 63-yard drive. Christopher Roberson, 7-yard touchdown run. And instead of going for a 2-point conversion, which would have cut it to 3, to a field goal, Coach went for 1. Now, with 4:26 to play, talk a little bit about the decision of going for 2 versus 1 at that point in time.
Game's hot. That was like a heavyweight battle back in the day when you had Muhammad Ali, greatest of all time, and like a Ken Norton or George Foreman. They was going blow for blow, strike him, jab, jab, heavy hit, jab, jab, heavy hits. So to get to where you're saying, Bryan, you're the head coach, you're sweating, your throat's dry, been there in that situation before. You think about, the first thing you think about, okay, if I kick this, how much time is left? You glance at the clock, 4:26. My guys have been playing football all day and they've been playing hard and heavy. We're a little winded. Do I want to go to 2s right now? No, not really, because we're playing very well. Nothing against my 2s, but it wouldn't be fair to put them in. They get scored on and they feel like crap all week long. So now I still got to go with my 1s, but my 1s is a little gas. So I got to think about, how do I help them out? So now if I go for 2, you look back at the time, you still say, okay, I still got 4:26. How do I kill this clock a little bit? So he went for 1, correct?
He went for the extra
Correct.
point.
He went for the extra point.
And they put him down 4.
Right.
Yeah.
With 4:20 to play.
Yeah. So now he's got 4:20 to play. Goes for 1. He kicks off. I remember Edward Waters gets it. They got a good kick return. Then they threw the ball. Edward Waters has a nice size offensive line. I looked it up today. They got some pretty sized guys. They're not small. Okay, so the quarterback threw the ball well all game long. He's a good kid. They got good receivers, But I think that the one thing he did show me, he can throw the ball deep. He threw the ball 7-8 times deep. They completed maybe 1 or 2, but on this drive, they going on this particular drive going down, he threw it like 3 times. I think twice he threw it out the end zone. I was like, wow, that kid's got a strong arm. But then, you're looking at the clock and it's going down, and it's 4th down, and they're going for it. So I think it's like, 4th and 2 or something like that. It wasn't much to get the first down to keep going. And he's sitting in shotgun, and I'm thinking, okay, how's this going to work?
Let me back up for a second. Let me figure out where you're at, because the play, because I think you may be on a different play. So are we referring to after Tuskegee cut it to 35-31? Is that where we're at?
Yes, sir. We're down there.
Let me read.
We're at the last drive for Edward Waters.
Yeah, okay. So Edward Waters had, okay, so 1st and 10, Edward Waters on their own 33, run for a loss of 4 yards. Then on 2nd and 14, they actually had a run for 9 yards, but there was a penalty, a holding, 10-yard penalty, which then made it up. Right. Edward Waters took a timeout there. Now, that you could question, right? Why would Edward Waters call a timeout right there? You
want to regroup. You want to regroup. Everything's going fast. You had a penalty already. You had a run that didn't go very well. So you need that. You need them 30 seconds to take that deep breath and say, what are we doing? We're here. What are we doing? I don't want to mess this up. And so you consult with your quarterback. You don't even consult with the coordinator. You just look at your quarterback in the eyes and say, young man, how you feeling? And he's like, Coach, I'm feeling fine. And do you want to go to a certain play? And he probably says, well, Coach, we only practice that twice a week. Hey, we got to get it done right now. And he's like, yes, sir. So they go back out there.
2nd and 24 at the Edward Waters 19. Also pass complete to Devin Thompson for 4 yards. Tuskegee called timeout. Now it's 3rd and 20 on their own 23-yard line, 2:50 on the clock. Edward Waters comes out again. Russell runs for 11 yards to the Edward Waters 34. Timeout. Tuskegee calls a timeout, probably their last. As I look here, I think that might have been Tuskegee's last timeout.
Yeah, I remember the commentator saying that Tuskegee had no more timeouts, and there was still some time on the clock because the commentator was like, why would he do that with some time left? I'm thinking, hey, he's trying to put his team in a great position to win.
2:29. Yeah, okay, so good call there by Coach James. 2:29 left to play. Edward Waters has to punt. So in essence, what ended up happening, 4 plays, 1 yard, 1 minute, 59 seconds, runs off the clock. Edward Waters punted 36 yards to the Tuskegee 30-yard line. So 70 yards to win the ball game. So basically, that's what Tuskegee has to do. They have to go 70 yards with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left.
But if I'm not, wasn't there an interception or a fumble or something? That's how they got the ball back real quickly? Because I knew it was like in 2 plays they got the ball back.
No, not at this point in the ball game. That may have been no.
Was that later? That was earlier in the game. I remember it was a fumble. Then they got the ball. I thought they got the ball back real quickly. Tuskegee got the ball back, and I thought they fumbled it through a pick, and then Edward Waters got the ball real quickly. No, that was a different time.
Must have been
Okay.
earlier in the game. Yeah, no, I'm just because I know I was bouncing around from different games, so I probably missed that as well.
Because they got the ball back real quickly. Because once they, like I said, they punted, it was still a little time on the clock. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody help me out. I'm thinking if they didn't throw a pick, I think there was a somehow, some way they got the ball back real quick. They got the ball back real quick. And that's how they got the ball back. And I think they tried to run it, nothing. Tried to run it, nothing. Then they threw it. And I think that's when he threw it out the end zone. I'm like, wow, the kid's got a strong arm. And then it was 4th, and I remember it was 4th down because he went for it. You're looking at the charts. Am I correct? If I'm not mistaken, I remember he went for it on 4th. I remember that, and I was like, "Whoa, that's a big gamble right there." And that's when, hey,
you must be in the third. I mean, I don't know. You must be in a different quarter than where I'm at.
I thought we were talking about the 4th quarter, late in the 4th quarter.
We're talking 4th quarter, the last 2 drives with the score now 35-31. That I didn't.
35-31.
Yeah, scores 35-31 right now. Tuskegee has the ball on their own 30-yard line, needing to go 70 yards. So, yeah, this one was just a march down the field. There wasn't any, there was no.
I watched like 4 games today, but I remember.
I got you.
I remember. I thought that it was like in 2 plays they got the ball back real quickly, and I'm like, oh, they still got life. Because I remember when they punted, I'm like, okay, this game's over. Tuskegee got it. They won homecoming. They're gonna be celebrating all night. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was within 2 plays, Edward Waters got the ball back. And then that's when, like I say, they tried to run it, and they threw it twice downfield, out the end zone because the receivers didn't drop it. And then, anyway, on that last play, 4th down, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 4th and some inches, 4th and yards. Because I was thinking, wow, what's going on? And that's when, like I say, history changed, man. History changed. That was if you go back, watch the big fellas up front, like I always say, they was in a 3-point stand, excuse me. They had great blocking. The quarterback had time. There was no pressure, okay? There was a beautiful pocket, so we're going to have to give the big fellas their credit. He was able to step up and just threw it. He threw it high and mighty. Like I said, we know he's got a strong arm. And then by the grace of God, the one kid who catches the ball was his only catch all game long. And he comes down with it. I know, Drew, I'm so sorry. And then the commentator would just, it sounded like something from the NFL. He catches it. Oh, my God, he catches it. And I was just like, my mouth just hit the ground like, wow. But like I say, man, that throw will go a part of history. That quarterback, for the rest of his life, will always be able to tell his kids and grandkids what Dad and Grandpa did.
Here's the ball game here. Takes the snap. Russell, back to pass. Russell looking. Russell's going to throw near side. This one is going to be tipped. It is. Did he make the catch? Gone! Touchdown, Ravens! Touchdown, Tigers! Touchdown, Tigers! Touchdown, Tigers! Arsiah McCorker!
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? The Hail Mary is answered.
Yeah.
Arsiah McCorker.
And the kid who caught
Touchdown, Edward Waters.
Coach, you got to tell me.
Oh my goodness.
Hit that, Drew.
Touch.
Coach, you got to tell me. There is no way that they just did that.
Mm-hmm.
The previous play.
The previous play, they sure did.
And they almost caught it the previous play.
Yes, they did.
So, do you do the exact? I mean, don't you say to your DC, "Hey, send a 4th man," or do you shout something to your DBs? "Hey, if he gets wide open, tackle somebody, commit a personal foul. Don't let the guy just run uncontested." I mean, don't you? Do you not? I don't know. How is that coached up
Yes, you do. You send 4 or 5 back. You be in a prevent. Prevent's when everybody's 10, 12 yards deep, except your D line. Your linebackers are 10 yards deep. Your corner safeties, everybody's 10 yards deep. You're expecting it because they just went for it. And like you said, they almost caught it. So as a head coach, you're screaming. You're telling your D coordinator. So you're both screaming prevent, and you're moving your hands like this. So you're saying get back, Farasi, get back, AD, get back, Bryan, get back. So everybody's looking. Everybody's getting back. And once again, you can tell. I heard someone earlier talk about, do they practice this play? Yes, you practice that play. Now, it's not something that you practice every day, all day, but you practice it at least twice a week because you just never know when you're going to need it. So as you know, go back. The quarterback didn't hesitate.
All day.
Yeah. We gave credit to the line.
There was no pressure.
No. You're not blitzing right now because you're being in a prevent because you already know they got to go to the end zone. 3 points ain't going to work.
But at least
they got to go to the end zone.
Give me a fourth man. You just gave him three versus 5. Come on, that's not even fair. I mean, he's got all day. He just showed he had all day to throw 45, 50 yards on the play before.
Yeah, no, he did. But I mean, to blitz in that situation that's a gamble for sure. It's a gamble for sure. So you got to have a player that that can get there, because if not, you get what you get. So it's best. I'm gonna be what they was in. I'm gonna be in a prevent. That's the best way to cover your butt, and that's the easy word to say for it. Because I don't want to curse, but cover your butt. So just being a prevent, and that's just one of them things where God bless that young man. But like I said, that was his first catch of the day. So he gets to tell everybody, my only catch, win the game. But that quarterback, he's got to be feeling like Heisman Trophy winner, because that was just beautiful. You go back to that play, once again, that pocket was beautiful. He stepped up. He didn't panic. He tossed it, and it came down, and it was just like, and that's why I say it would be part of HBCU history. I mean, that's a game that when they talk about HBCU games, they'll have to talk about that one. They will have to talk about that one.
They will.
Question, Coach.
Talk to me, brother.
Thank you. Rush 5 and don't give him time to get down. Thank you, Edward. Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. One thing I did notice, because I've spent a little bit of time at defensive back in my very brief non-college football playing career. But the one thing that I noticed when I went back and watched that replay is I still saw the D-backs backpedaling while the receivers were running full speed as they got to about the 20 and 15 yard line. It don't take a genius to figure this out. 2 seconds. The ball is going to the end zone. Why are we backpedaling at that point in time instead of turning, sprinting, getting to the goal line, getting to the end zone, getting to where the point of attack? Because it's a lot easier to take your momentum and to go forward if you're already in that general area than to try to backpedal or catch up with the ball once it's in the air. So, that was just the one thing I noticed about the coverage in the defensive backfield. They were still backpedaling while he was stepping up in the pocket to throw the ball. Did you have to notice that also, Coach?
I didn't notice it till right now, till you just bring it up, brother. But as a defensive back, I coached DBs before. You don't ever want to turn your back to the quarterback because he can take off and run at any time. So you may be thinking he's passing. You turn around and turn. He knows that you got your back to him. He takes off. He picks up because there still was time on the clock. So he takes off and gets your yards. So now you're wrong. You practice backpedaling every day. That's why you're a defensive back. Plus, you don't ever want to let this receiver run past you, because me as a coach, I tell my guys all the time, if I ever look up and the guy's 2 yards behind you or in front of you, you're coming out the game. So you just backpedaling because once again, we know he's got to go to the end zone. We know this. So just backpedal, keep this guy in front of you or stay with him, and the ball's in the air. Okay, I'm doing well. I can, out of my peripheral, I see this guy here. I know my brother's got his guy. I know my other brother's got his guy. So we see the ball. It's coming down. I'm still looking for my guy to make sure he don't wiggle around and try to jump in front of me. And then here comes this kid who, as they got this verbiage these days, mosses us, and your heart just drops. You're like, wow, because I did everything right. I backpedaled. My guy was with me. I made sure I spied the quarterback. His coach always say, spy the quarterback. I spied the quarterback. So in that play, no one was wrong. I would just say, great throw, great catch. Like you do in the backyard with your little brother, throw and catch. It just, once again, we saw history.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not down, but I guess maybe the way I was kind of talk, you see it, you open up your hips, head over your shoulder, and you ready to stop on the dime and come back in case they run one of those 20 lateral plays or something like that, or in case the quarterback does decide to take off and try to run for it and try to do a Michael Vick and run for the final 46 yards of the play. But it was just something about that. Every time that I've seen that Hail Mary work, it's because the defensive backs were backpedaling and not able to recover quick enough to get to the jump ball point, basically, because they were a little bit slow in their back pedal. So maybe that's just me. It's just an observation. Like I say, I'm not questioning the coaching or the teaching of it. It's just something that I've picked up on, not only in that play, but the couple of successful Hail Mary plays that I have seen in that situation where they just aren't quite there to get there, because you want to be there because you know it's going to be a jump ball. You don't want to be moving on the jump ball. You want to be there so that you can plant and use your vertical. Now, if you get balls and you got I'm 5'10". I'm a 5'10" person. You got somebody 6'5" jumping over me. Hell, God just blessed him with longer arms and a little bit more of a vertical. He was able to get that over me. But at least I want to be in place where I can get in and make an attempt, or if I see he's gonna get it, at least try to punch it out of his hands before he can land on his feet. I'm done with this play. Let's move on to another doggone game, Brian. Shout out once again, Joshua Jackson. Appreciate the call. Don't appreciate who the team that you called it against. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay. The Benedict Tigers.
Thursday
night game against Fort Valley.
Sunday. Now you take me back.
Yeah, we gotta go. But yeah, we'll come back to Sunday in a second. But I just thought while we were in the SIAC, we would talk about this heavyweight fight.
No problem.
That were unbeaten in conference play coming into it. And I think we had high expectations. I think a lot of folks had high expectations for a closer game than what we got. And just kind of going back and looking at the stats, Benedict or Fort Valley scored first.
Mm-hmm. They kicked a field goal
After an 11-play drive.
Mm-hmm.
And Benedict they scored, touchdown, scored a field goal, another field goal, scored on every possession in the first half. And before you knew it, they were looking up at a 20-3. Actually had an interception as well. So thanks to a pick six, they were up 27. Did I have that right? Yeah, the pick six made it 27-3. Actually, 27-6. Fort Valley got a late field goal. Went on to win 48-6. Compared to a week ago, in which Benedict really kind of let a game get out of their control. I mean, this one they control from start to finish, I would say. They continue to impress, don't they, Benedict?
This was the first time I've seen Benedict all year. I've been hearing everybody talk about how good they are. The only thing I really hear about is their defense and everything like that. Didn't really hear much about the offense, defense. So I was really excited to see Benedict, to see what's really going on and how good these guys really are. And I was impressed. Like you say, going back to that game, I can see it. They got the kick return. They got a good kick return. They drove down. I will say this, Fort Valley, once again, they have some big boys. They're all 6'1", 6'4", 285, 320. So they're not small up front. And they did a good job blocking. They got a good running back. That brother ran hard. I don't know his name, but he ran hard. They got a good quarterback with an arm. But, Brian, I'm going to say this. I'm 51. Everybody knows that. I'm a football connoisseur. I love old school football. What I saw from Benedict, I don't want people to put this in the same perspective, but I'm going to put it in the same perspective so I want people to see what I'm talking about. That defensive line from Benedict, they are the heart and soul of that team. They're the aorta. Everybody knows the aorta is the main vein to punch the heart. That defensive line is just incredible. That's what pumps that defense, man. That big line from Fort Valley had a hard time blocking them guys, and they're not very big. I looked at their roster. They're average size. They're 225. They're 240. Got a couple 250s. I think I saw one guy that was over 300. But other than that, they're 245, 255. But they was coming with it. Now, they don't have any Joe Greens, because they remind me of a lot of that Steel Curtain defense with the Steelers. They don't have a Joe Green. That's a guy that never be duplicated ever again. But that defensive line makes that defense. They was on their head, man. Twice, the running back got his helmet knocked off because they was hitting, okay? They was able to get to the quarterback several times. He got pressured. One time, I think it was early in the game, might have been the third series. They was coming so fast, he just threw the ball, and Benedict intercepted it and took it like 50, 60 the other way. I remember the number zero. I don't know the kid's name, but number zero, he weaved through the crowd and took it all the way. I think the quarterback
remember that.
I think the quarterback threw 2 or 3 picks because he was under pressure. He didn't have time to sit back there and make tea and talk on the phone. I mean, he had to play some football. He had to move around left, right. Benedict's defense is carrying that team. Shout out to their D coordinator and that D-line coach. Nothing against Coach Berry. He's a great coach. We all know that. But that defense is carrying them, man. And that defense is impeccable, and they get to it. That you could tell they love playing football. What I saw is after they made tackles or got to the quarterback, they picked each other up. They hustled back to the huddle, and they get ready for the next play. That's what you want from your defense. I didn't see them bending over. I didn't see them getting tired. I saw them rotate some guys and keep them fresh. But once again, it starts with that defensive line when it comes to Benedict football 2023. That defensive line is impeccable. I think I'm going to say this now. I've been with you guys since August. We're in October? And I saw at least 20 HBCU teams. They got the best D-line in HBCU football. Now, they're probably not the biggest, but they have the best defensive line in HBCU football.
Yeah, they were active.
Yeah.
Listen
and
to
it doesn't help.
Let me give the numbers here, and then Drew go. Then I'll let you go ahead. Benedict had 10.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, which they recovered 2 of them. They had 2 interceptions. Of course, one of them was a pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
A total of what counted as 6 quarterback hurries, 2 pass breakups. I mean, and held. Let's see. In total, when I go look at the total offense, held Fort Valley to 233 total yards on 66 plays, 3.5 average. I mean, that's a outstanding job by the defense.
Yeah, they shut them down. They shut them down. Now, I will say this for Fort Valley. I didn't see any quit in them. I didn't see no one walking up the field with their head down. You know, you talk to never walk on the field. Never walk on the field. I didn't see them walking on the field. I didn't see them arguing with each other on the sideline because they were getting dominated. Let's just be real about it. They kept playing, man. And so I have to take my hat off to them and their coaching staff. Although they were getting, beat up very badly and the score was just increasingly, they got embarrassed. They didn't hold their heads down. They played football. So they got a good team over there and that coach is doing a good job with them. But Benedict, that defense is what's keeping them at number 1.
What were you going to add, Drew?
Yeah. I was going to say it doesn't help if you're a Fort Valley. You've got a short week. You're on the road, and you've got a quarterback who's coming off of who's fighting through I don't know if it was a high ankle sprain or just a regular ankle sprain. I doubt if it was a high ankle sprain because he probably wouldn't have played. But you could tell Kelvin Durham's mobility was severely limited to avoid the Benedict rush, to be able to step up in the pocket like he normally would, or to be able to sidestep some of those Benedict defenders. And like you said, Coach, that is the wrong defensive line to be going against if you're not close to 100%.
I think, I've never seen the kid play, but even if he was at 100%, proof's in the pudding. Those boys at D-line, they're real. And so if he would have been even healthy, I think they would have still been the same, Drew. They was on him. They was on him. And once again, Fort Valley, I do apologize. Fort Valley, they got big boys up front, and they couldn't stop them brothers. They could not stop them guys. They had one goal, one heartbeat, one mindset. Stop the run, pressure the quarterback, and they did that. Once again, Fort Valley's running back, he ran hard. Like I say, I saw twice where he had to leave the game because he lost his helmet, which means he was running hard. But that D-line, they make that team. They everyone on that team, offense, defense, special team, they eat off their plate. That defensive line is impeccable, man. And I'm gonna say it again: the best D-line in HBCU football.
Drew, I think there's going to be.
Kayla Chavis says. Oh, excuse me. Kayla Chavis questions whether they're the best D-line in football. Kayla, I want you to put in the chat who you think who has a better defensive line than Benedict at any level in HBCU football. If you're going to put that out there, you got to give me you got to give me another team to compare them to.
Yes, please, because I've like I say, I don't know how many games he saw, but I know I've seen at least 20 different teams. And that D-line, when you talk about Benedict, first thing I think about is that D-line. I think about the O-line. I'm an O-line guy. I ain't thinking about them, the quarterback, the running back. I'm thinking about that defensive line. They are very, very good. Very, very good.
He said FAMU, Coach. You've seen FAMU. Do you think FAMU is better than Benedict's defensive line?
No. FAMU plays D1 football, and they probably got some bigger boys. But FAMU, let's be real about it. They live off Jerry Musa, their quarterback. When I think of FAMU, I'm thinking of Musa. Honestly, I know you guys are FAMU guys, so I don't know how you think it, but when I think of FAMU, I think of that quarterback. When I think of Benedict, I'm thinking of that D line.
All right, Brian, it's time. ONG strike zone time. Let's hear the debate from the ONG strike zone side.
No, I'm going to come back to the quarterback since Coach is talking about quarterbacks. I'm going to come back to quarterback, and where I was going to go is I think, especially after this game, we're going to have to start. There's going to be an interesting debate over these last few weeks for SIC Offensive Player of the Year. Aeneas Dennis, he may not be averaging 362 yards a game like David Wright in the air. He doesn't have the most touchdowns as Jyron Russell, but what he does have, he has 11 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. He has an efficiency rating of 150.6, which is just behind Russell, and completion percentage 64%, which is the best of the 3 quarterbacks. And he's thrown for just under 1,800 yards. David Wright's over 2,100, almost 22. And Russell's almost at 2. So what I'm saying is that offensive race, it'll be interesting. He's leading, Coach, you talked about the defense, but they have a very efficient, a very good quarterback.
We're still talking about Benedict. We're talking about Benedict's quarterback?
I'm talking about Benedict's quarterback.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm saying Aeneas Dennis. I'm just saying what I'm saying is these last 3 to 4 weeks, his name should be in the hunt for SIC Player of the Year, right there along with David Wright and Jyron Russell. And you can go, everyone can go look up the stats on the SIC.com, and you'll see, look at the touchdown to interception ratio. Look at the completion percentage. I mean, he's 3rd in yards, just under 1,800 yards. It's nothing to sneeze at with what he's doing there. So I
saw him. Brian. I mean, once again, I'm not trying to hate on nobody. I'm not a hater.
No.
But he's a good quarterback, and his stats speak for themselves. But what I'm saying is Benedict is, correct me, 6-0, correct?
7-0.
Yeah. Because of that defense. Now he gets that quarterback. Yeah, he's real and he's doing his job. But that defense, brother, is incredible, and it starts with that D line. That's what I'm saying.
Right. All right, let's move over to another game. You were shocked. Look, we knew somebody had to. We call this someone had to win this game. Someone had to win between Valley and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Someone had to come out of the. Someone had to get their first conference win, and it was Valley putting 42 points on the board against Arkansas Pine Bluff to win their first game of the season, so we can cross them off of the winless line. And but just the fact that they put 42 points up on UAPB, that was pretty impressive. I told you I would go and look and see when's the last time that they put up 40-something points. So
yeah, I was about to ask you that.
Yeah,
when is that, Brian?
I'll look. You go ahead and you talk about your thoughts on the game, and I'll let me see if I can quickly find the last time Valley put up 40-something points on somebody.
Okay. Like I say, I've been really hell-bent on coaching at the HBCU level, although I'm HBCU guy, everybody knows that, Progressive Lakes University, for the last 2 years. So I've been paying as much attention to football as possible. I don't remember Valley putting up them kind of points. So, Brian, like I say, if you can find it, please help me. And I'm going back 2 years, so we're at 2023. I'm talking about since 2021, and that's right. Was that when COVID hit? Right after COVID, right when Dion first took over at Jackson State is when I really started paying attention to like saying, "Hey, this is where I need to be at with all the experience and knowledge I have. I need to be over there." And I don't remember Valley putting up them kind of points. Now we always said somebody was going to get one first. I didn't even know who had done what until I was watching AD and the guys earlier at Dr. Cavill's show when they had mentioned that Valley beat UAPB. My mouth dropped. I said, okay, hold on. Did I hear that correctly? Huh? And then, so I'm thinking, oh, was that a 7-6 14-12, 17-16. So when me and Bryan was talking, he says, "Oh no, coach, that was 42-17." I was like, "Huh?" Said it again. He said it again. He said 42-17. And I said, no. That can't happen. Now, once again, I'm not hating on the coach at Mississippi Valley. He's got what I want, a head coaching job at HBCU level. Hopefully I get one this year. But I was just like, I thought Pine Bluff was going to be better. I didn't see that coming from Valley. But I will say kudos to that coach and that coaching staff, because after you lose your first 2 games of D2s, I know that had to be comical walking around campus, especially going into coaching meetings and then with your team probably looking at you funny like, hey, what are we doing here? But that just goes to show you that brother, he looked in the mirror every day and he knew who he was. And so he went, he kept his team motivated and he kept his coaches motivated. And like I said, every week he kept hitting that rock. And so they put up 42 points, man. That's like, wow, And so on the other side of that coin, Pine Bluff, I don't know much about that brother. I said he's an alumni from Pine Bluff. He was coaching with I think he coached with somebody big at some D1 or something like that. I don't know much about him, but I do know this: you're not supposed to get beat by Valley like that. That's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. Nothing against that brother. Once again, I don't know him, but he's got to do a better job of coaching, because let's just be real about it. That's embarrassing. Let's just be 100. That's embarrassing to get beat 42-17 by Mississippi Valley. FAMU, yeah. Southern, Jack State, yeah. Mississippi Valley, no. I know he's a first-year guy, everything like that, but that game was supposed to be close. But then what that goes to tell you is that Valley had frustration going all the way back a couple years. Like I told you earlier, Bryan, it's kind of like when you've just been picked on all year long at school, then finally you just get mad and you knock the guy out in the hallway. And you're like, and everybody's looking at you like, wow. It's just, you're just frustrated because mom, dad's on you to make good grades. Grandma's on you to come over on every weekend to cut the grass. You've been picked on by this bully. You're trying to talk to the pretty girl, but he's embarrassing you. And you just get frustrated and you throw that left. And I think that's what Mississippi Valley got. I think they was frustrated about the first 2 wins and the season wasn't going right. And the team was probably starting to question, why are we here? And naturally, they're going to always question the head coach. And the assistant coach are probably saying, why am I with this guy? But once again, he kept his guys together. He kept everybody positive, and they hit that chin. When you hit that chin, it drops the body. And hey, so I say 2 thumbs up to Mississippi Valley. Keep it going. But I will say Arkansas Pine Bluff and their coaching staff, you got to do better than that, brother, because you're not supposed to lose Mississippi Valley like that. That's not supposed to happen. That's just not supposed to happen.
Okay, well, look, you say it's not supposed to happen, but let me say this. Going back, I'm just going to stop here at 2016, right?
Wow, 2016?
No, hold on. That's not where I'm done now. Hold on, because in the last, let's see, what year was that? I saw Marcus put it out there in 21. That was the last time that they beat. Last time they scored 40-plus points was actually in 2021. They beat Alabama State on senior night, 44-31.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Now, what's interesting, though, it's the 3rd time in the last 5 times that that Mississippi Valley State has scored more than 40 points that the opponent has been UAPB. Wow. They, in 2018, for homecoming on October 20th, they beat them 48-47 in double overtime. I don't know if that counts because it's double overtime.
I'm doing my thing, man. What you want?
And then in 2016, on November 5th, they beat UAPB 41-7. So those are just the last 5 times that Valley has scored more than 40 points. And like you said, so 3 of those occurrences have been against UAPB. So
you know what I'm thinking right now? This song popped in my head. Hey, baby, I got your number. Because they do. Only time they do that is the Pine Bluff. Only time they do that is the Pine Bluff. Now I'm a Langston Lion, so Pine Bluff was our rival. But I'm not against them. But I'm not for them. But when you were talking about the stats, the only time that popped in my head was, hey, baby, we got your number.
Yeah, and you're funny, Coach. And then there's some in those years in 2016. Now this is This is the part that Valley has to sort of be prepared for. In those years when they beat UAPB and scored 40 on them, that was their only win in 2016 and 2018. So, you scored 40 something, and that was your only win of the entire season.
A.D. Bryan, I know you guys got them top-notch computers. I'm still working off an iPhone. I'm a little guy over here, but can you see Mississippi Valley's rest of their schedule? Who else do they got? Is this going to hold true? Is this going to be the only one?
Oh, I can tell you that right now because I'm actually on the schedule page right now. They have Jackson State this weekend at home. Travel to Alcorn, to Bethune, Alabama State at home, to Alabama A&M.
I put a question mark by the Bethune. The only other ones, I go to L, but I put a question mark by the Bethune.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there when they play Bethune. That's an opportunity. Who just lost?
But Bethune's going to be looking for their only victory of the season in the SWAC, and Bethune's at home.
Well,
and just like, even though the road is better, but just like getting in Edabina, you got to fly in and then bus over. They'll fly either into Jacksonville or Orlando, and then bus over to Daytona.
Speaking of Bethune, Coach, let's
probably after they have to bus to Jackson to fly
out. Speaking of Bethune, more so Bethune's opponent, Texas Southern, who ended up getting a win this past weekend on their homecoming game. 34-31 was the final score. But I think there was a late score there with 36 seconds left that kind of cut that. It was really 34-24. But the story is Ladarius Owens. I don't think Bethune had an answer for Ladarius Owens.
The running back from Texas Southern?
19 carries, 163 net yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 1 catch, 24 yards. And I think you even pointed out he did a little work on special teams as well. He had 4 returns for 142 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He had 100 yards.
So I'm doing quick math here, Drew. Is that 300 all-purpose yards over?
Easy. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I thought he had 100 yards receiving, but okay, he didn't. But I knew he had 100 rushing and 100 in returns, and he caught a couple balls. He was on fire. He was on fire.
So someone do the math here. 163 net rushing, 24 receiving, and then 142 kickoff returns. That's over 300.
That's 320 something. I didn't catch the last number. 140 what?
142.
That should be 329 if I did that quickly in my head.
329 all-purpose yards for Ladarius Owens. Well, congratulations, Ladarius. You just became the focus of FAMU scouting report for this upcoming week. Yeah.
Hey, he did a great job, Bryan and A.D. He did a great job that I was saying he shouldn't just be SWAC player of the week. He should be HBCU player of the week. He should be HBCU player of the week because, those numbers are incredible, especially from a running back. But once again, we got to start up front. I'm an O-line guy. That means they was blocking for 19 carries for 100-some-odd yards, everything like that. The big fella, and they got a big line. It's Texas football, so everything's big in Texas. We know that. So kudos to that young man. It was a good game. At one time, I did think Bethune could get it. Quarter late in the third, I think the quarterback threw a pick, and I was just like, wow, he's a big kid. That was one mistake I remember him making, and the game was close and tight. So I'm thinking, buddy, you didn't need to do that there. Thing that sticks out for me for Bethune is, once again, they got a nice-sized line. Of course, I'm an O-line connoisseur. They got a nice-sized line, and they had 2 running backs that was toting the pill for them, and they weren't very big. They just by looking at them, they were 175, 180. They weren't 200. They weren't 200, but they was running that ball inside those tackles, and they was getting 3, 4, 5 a pop. So I'm gonna say they had a steady run game. Not gonna blame the game on the quarterback, but I remember late in the game that interception hurt. But the thing that sticks out in my mind about that game was that running back from Texas Southern. Because I'm thinking, wow, this kid is real. this kid is real. And another thing, that quarterback, I think they say he was like third string. He wasn't playing like a third stringer. He was delivering that ball. Remember a couple weeks ago, I was saying they had a couple of drop balls that was deep. I'm like, they didn't have that this week. He was completing his passes. The O-line did a good job blocking for him. You could tell they had a mindset of going down there because when the game was close, they didn't. Sometimes you'll see Texas Sons, they'll panic a little bit. They'll fumble, throw a pick. They stay poised. So I know they still got a hard schedule ahead of them, but that was a good win for them. But the thing that sticks out in my mind, that running back. If he doesn't get HBCU Player of the Week, you guys show me who does. The stats speak for themselves. That brother was playing football.
Yeah.
And you're right. Texas Southern is on their third quarterback. Andrew Body shut it down for the season, taking a medical red shirt. And then the number 2 entered the transfer portal before the 4-week period so that he was able to protect his year of eligibility. So, yes, the guy who's playing now started the season as number 3 on the depth chart.
He's playing good football. He's throwing the ball better than I saw him a couple weeks ago. They're catching the ball better. The O-line, they're doing a good job for him. But once again, that running back, I think if I'm the coaching staff, we got to depend on him a lot more than what we have been doing the first 4 or 5 weeks. Get that young man the ball and see what happens, because I don't think the SWAC East or West is locked. I know you guys are FAMU guys, and FAMU's a tough team, but I still think that race is open. And if they depend on that running back a little more, who knows what can happen?
Anything's possible. Outside of the FAMU game, they travel to Southern, they travel to Jackson State, and then they host Alcorn and UAPB. Who knows? Anything's possible. I'm not going to look. Here's Texas Southern's won 2 games in a row. There's a funny thing. What winning can do to your outlook on your season, So here's a team that, had such a horrible start. Then you lose your starting quarterback, and you got all these other things going on around that. And you got to somehow find a way to focus on winning. And that's what they did. They went on they came off a homecoming win. They had a bye week. And then they went on a road trip and got a win. So that's got to give them a lot of confidence.
Yes.
When they host FAMU, who will be bringing a large contingent of people. There will be a ton of orange and green.
Is that game in Houston?
It is in Houston. It'll be on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's a night game, 7 o'clock at night.
Okay. Put me down. I'll be watching that one.
Which I think is 7 Central, so that'll be 8 Eastern.
Which would be 6 o'clock my time.
Yeah, you're 6 your time, so you even got a better time slot than what I got. That means I'm gonna have to Red Bull and Celsius. I'll be powering up on Celsius power drinks just to stay awake for the 4th quarter.
Just take a mid-afternoon nap, Brian.
I may have to. Okay. Coach, any other points that we might have missed on that you wanted to touch on before we end our time with you tonight?
I saw the Norfolk State and Tennessee State game. That was a good one there. Eddie George is doing a good job with Tennessee State.
Cleanest uniforms of the week.
Hey,
for sure. Those helmets were nice.
Well,
that uniform, that blackout, it was nice.
It was.
Yeah. I would like to say, though, I'm wondering why the fans keep leaving early for Tennessee State. They're not showing no love or support for the head coach or the team. That hurts when you look up and you see people leaving and you're playing as hard as you can play, because what are they, like 3-1 now, 3-2? They're playing good football, 4-2. They're playing good football, but people keep leaving on them. So I was just trying to figure that one out. And Norfolk State, they quarterback had a streak. You guys can check it because I know you got them high-priced computers, but I think he had like 9 games in a row where he threw a touchdown. But yesterday, he scored 3 on the ground. He scored 1 that I questioned. That was a quarterback sneak late in the second, right before the half. I still have to question that one. I think the ref just threw his arms up because I've seen a couple kids from Tennessee State walk over to the ref, not in a violent manner, but kind of look at him like, hey, what's going on? Because if you go back to that play right on the goal line, they try to run it twice, didn't get it. And his quarterback they got, Norfolk State, he's like 6'5", like Ben Rosenberg. He's a big kid. So it's like going back and forth, and then you just seen the referee throw his hands up. It was 17-6 at that time. And because like Tennessee State dominated that first quarter. I mean, they had a good kick return. They ran the ball. They played two quarterbacks. Each quarterback threw the touchdown in the first quarter. Second quarter, it was kind of even out. Second half, Norfolk State ran the ball a little bit better. Tennessee State, that quarterback, fast forwarded because like I said, I still got so much going on in my brain. But I do remember this late in the fourth to just put it away. They did a quarterback power. Wasn't a bootleg, because bootleg means he tries to fake to a running back, runs around. They did a quarterback power where they pulled both guards. They got big size linemen. Saw big linemen this week. I like to see big fellas. You know, I was talking to Drew the other day, and we saw one school that had 240, 250s. I'm like, brother, you can't play like that. But anyway, they did a good job of pulling the guard. He stepped back, waited for his blocking. He ran around, and I think that's how they sealed the win, because he stayed on the outside of both of those guards and ran it in for about 8 to 10 yard touchdown run. That was a beautiful play. He's a good athlete. They got a good team over there. So if anybody from Tennessee State is listening, you got to stand and support your team. You know, you got to give them kids momentum and hope to know that they're playing for each other, but they're also playing for the name on that jersey which says Tennessee State. To leave at halftime or early in the third, and as an ex-athlete, I turn around and you're leaving, that hurts. Because now we're thinking, what did we do wrong? We're winning football games. That's why we're here. We're winning, and they're leaving us. So I guess Eddie George has got to sit down with his president and student body president and say, hey, what do we got to do? Maybe we got to have some clowns and throw some candy or something in the stands. But, I mean, I heard the commentators say it's like 3 weeks in a row that they're leaving. And I'm like, wow, come on, HBCU. You know what I mean? They're not leaving at Notre Dame, Georgia, Florida, USC. So why are we leaving? Come on. We have to stand tall and stand proud.
You bring up an
I can answer that question.
You bring up an interesting debate, and I disagree a bit with you, J Mac, about it being an HBCU thing, because if I do recall, I looked at, you know, not only the clips of the Tuskegee game, the Jackson State game, there were plenty of people still in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have a disconnect happening right now between Tennessee State alumni and fans and supporters and the administration, or I think there's a frustration with being on the outside, like, and they're showing it. They're showing it. I really think that they're saying there's a disconnect between saying that we're on the outside. Now, I do say winning will change all of this. Winning will change all of it.
They're winning.
But
it hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, but 4-2 is like,
and they're beating HBCUs.
That's a smidge over 500. So when I'm talking about winning, win your conference. The last time that Tennessee State has won the OVC is
it's been a while.
It's been a long time. And that's a berth in the playoffs.
I think it was the 80s, honestly.
Yeah, so technically there's a long period of being close, but not quite there. And because you're playing those teams in the OVC and who've had better ranked teams, you know, so I think it does take a little time and do a little bit of winning, but I won't subscribe to the it's an HBCU thing. I really don't. I'm not going to subscribe to that.
I'm not going to either. But
I think there's something else going on there, and I think but you know I don't know. We don't have time.
Hey, real quickly, I played at Langston, and when I was at Langston back in 95, 96, we were considered the smallest HBCU out there. We had about 3,200 students, and I never once saw our crowd leave. I can honestly say that. I never once saw our crowd leave. So, Bryan, I'm with you. I'm not buying into it, the HBCU thing. It could be a winning thing, but they're 4-2. They're 4-2. Come on. AD, I know you said you had something to say, so go ahead and say it, brother, because I know you guys got to get moving, anything like that, but I'm not buying into that. It's an HBCU thing. I don't really know what's going on, but they have to stand support them brothers and them coaches. Give them a reason to want to continue to win. If not, then, like I say, you ain't won that thing since the 80s, then go back to losing. Because Eddie George is working his butt off over there. We all know that. He's doing the best he can do at that head coach position. He's got good assistants. He's got a good team. You got to stay and finish that game for them. You got to stay and finish that game. AD, talk to me, brother.
Maybe the effects of the wine and how the cheese fill up your stomach, and the crackers have worn off by halftime, and they got to go out and get them some more wine and cheese. I don't know what it is over there. And you could substitute that wine and cheese for the liquor tailgate, but maybe that's, I don't know what the culture is over there. Here's the one thing. They didn't leave the Classic in Memphis early. They didn't leave the Atlanta Classic when they were playing FAMU early. They didn't leave the Southern Heritage early. They stay around for that. So why won't you stay at a home game, TSU Tiger fans? I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. 100.
Hey, winning. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing I said. But anyway, let's take a break. Coach, let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
Twitter, aka X, not to cut you off, brother.
No, that's all right.
At Coach Farasi, and my numbers have been increasing. I want to thank Bryan and A.D. and the BCS Network for helping me, because like I said, when I met you guys, I'm not a social media guy, so I had 8 to 10. Hey, I'm over 700 now. I'm over 700. So I'm like, I thank you guys for that there. If you want to email me, it's at coachfarasi@gmail.com. Everyone knows who I am. Everybody knows what I'm looking for. We still got about 4 weeks into the season. If you're a president or AD, and you listen to this show, which is a great show, if you need a head coach, think about Coach Norman. I'll come get it right for you. I promise you that. Fellas, I appreciate you. I will text you guys in the middle of the week to let you know I'm definitely going to watch the FAMU Southern game. Texas Southern. And I will find another one. I'll let you guys know by Wednesday like I always do. AD, I'll get at you, in the next day or so. Bryan, you stay strong. Hey, appreciate them black shirts.
I'll make that call for you, Coach.
I know you will, my friend.
I'll make that call for you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Let me know something. Bryan, thank you once again. I'll text you by the middle of the week to let you know my 2 games, but I'm definitely going to watch the FAMU Texas Southern game.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
You guys have a good week now. Talk to you next week.
All right, Coach.
Always, my brother.
Take care, fellas.
All right, you guys make sure you hit up Coach Farasi Norman at Coach Farasi on X. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back for a second. I want to get into something real quick before we get into the top 5. So hang tight. Let's take a short break. Come back. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D here. Appreciate Coach Farasi coming on. I want to go back here for a second. I went and took a look at the last 2 years that Tennessee State, their homecoming attendance. 2021, this is post-pandemic. 2021, they played Murray State for homecoming in front of 8,627 people. That was the announced attendance. In 2022, against Bethune-Cookman, they had 22,231,000. Saturday for homecoming against Norfolk State, 13,975. I didn't get a chance to go back deeper into seeing, what those numbers were like. And I think those games were all played at the Nissan Stadium, right?
Correct.
So, yeah. So, again, I go back to 2013, as Nick S. pointed out here. 2013 was the last time they made it. So we're talking a decade ago. So a decade ago was the last time that Tennessee State went to the playoffs, went to the second round. Congrats. Okay. But since then, and correct me if I'm wrong, have not sniffed winning the OVC since. So again, 4-2 is, you may say we don't cover Tennessee State. Well, they give us something to cover. There may be an opportunity where, for example, Hampton was making a lot of noise 2 weeks ago. Guess what just happened to Hampton? Throttled by Monmouth. They're sort of, how can I say this, Drew? The interest level of HBCU media is about to go that way down. Why? Because now they sit at 3-2. They're just as bad or just as good, however you want to word it, as half the teams in the SWAC. Maybe a little better than everybody in the MEAC except North Carolina Central. But still, the attention is going to go where the largest cluster is. So when schools like Tennessee State, Hampton, A&T, who are sitting outside of the HBCU conferences where you have a large cluster, when they are doing something, when they are competing at a high level against everybody else, as well as beating HBCU teams, then yeah, that attention is going to come. So again, just like fans in the seats are going to come because it equates to winning. So I'm excited that Eddie George is 4-2, and hopefully Tennessee State can continue winning, because winning will start to bring folks. Now, if it doesn't, if it becomes to be this bad experiment where nobody still comes to the games, let's see what's left on Tennessee State's home schedule this year. Let's go and take a look. This year, 2023. We go take a look at their schedule, right? The home schedule. All right, let's see. They got wins on the home schedule against Gardner-Webb. Then they beat, of course, Norfolk State. Oh, they got Lincoln coming to town. Well, that should be a win. But I wonder, will there be more than 13,000 people that show up just for the goodness sakes of showing up for Tennessee State football? What do you think, Drew? Plus
maybe
or minus?
Combined. Maybe
combined what? Combined what?
If you combine the attendance for the remaining home games, you might get to 13,000.
Okay, so you're basically saying no chance of getting them at 13,000 against Lincoln is very slim. Yeah.
No, they won't get it against Lincoln. They won't get it against Lindenwood. They may, Tennessee Tech may be the best game that they will probably draw out of the three remaining. But, Lincoln, nobody knows who Lincoln of California is in HBCU, even though they are the
HBCU
new
schedule.
version of Virginia Lynchburg for HBCUs, yeah, nobody knows anything about them. They're only about a 3-year program anyway, 3-year-old program. Their majority, they're not an HBCU because of the legal designation of being an HBCU, but they are a minority serving institution in California with the majority of its population African American. So that's the story on Lincoln. Lindenwood, a team that was Division Two. What was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, when they were still Division Two, out of St. Charles, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. Right. Lindenwood is not good. They are not going to draw. They're a new football program anyway, regardless of what level of football they're going to be on. Tennessee Tech, there's a somewhat of a rival between Tennessee State and Tennessee Tech. So that game may draw because Tennessee Tech people are also going to come to that game. And part of your attendance, folks, is who you play. And it's not so much as the name brand of your opponent, but how well your opponent travels. That also goes a lot into your home attendance. Won't get anybody from Lincoln to California, even though it's about a 4.5-hour drive from Lindenwood to Nashville. You won't see too many people going down I-24 getting into Nashville on that game. So Tennessee Tech is your best chance. Combined, they may get to that 13-5 number.
So I'll conclude with this, okay? And great, interesting comment there by Sneaker Shop Talk. The administration loves the OVC. They look down at HBCU conferences, and obviously there's a connect with the alumni and the fan base, and so you got to sell the TSU football again. You got to somehow get Eddie George to connect the past with the future. And look,
and it's not like the other. Oh,
the OVC is just not a sexy FCS conference. I'm just gonna flat out say it. It's not. If you were in the what's the Missouri Valley, that would be a sexier FCS conference to be in, because you have teams in there that have reputations. You have teams in there that have playoff success. You have teams with fan bases that travel. I don't know if you have that.
This sums it up right here.
Yeah, that's what?
Zeroing in on the HBCU games and ignore the rest. And it's not even the fact that you've got good football there in Nashville, because Vanderbilt is garbage also. So you're competing more with the casual fan who may be a Tennessee fan, University of Tennessee, than you are with the SEC school who's right there in the same town with you.
Look, I don't know. Look, this I don't know if this comment's directed at us, but I will say, as someone who is, if I'm putting Tennessee State as the third best team in HBCU football in my poll, I'm going to be watching. I may be scoreboard watching. I may be stat watching what they do against Lincoln. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to compare it to what everybody else who's played Lincoln has done, right? And then when you go play Lindenwood, I have no idea who Lindenwood is. But guess what? I'll be paying attention to see how Tennessee State does against Lindenwood. I may not watch but for a blip, okay? But, I mean, that's the facts. Again, like we just said, you're – whatever. Put together some wins. Put together a complement of wins, and don't tell me we're not paying attention to TSU. Hell, we got them ranked. We got them ranked in all of our stuff. And miss me on that we don't pay attention to Tennessee State. Garbage. Tennessee State fans don't pay attention to Tennessee State. Not us. We ain't the problem. It's Tennessee State fans. Not you all particular who are in the chat room and commenting. Hey, you all are great fans. Why aren't the rest of the Tennessee State nation? I could ask my sister. She's an alum. She didn't go to homecoming, but honestly, that it is what it is. But anyway, can we Can we get to the top 5?
Okay, before we get to the top 5, a couple of comments that came in during Coach Farasi's segment that I wanted to get to, if you don't mind.
Sure.
First one, Jamie, back when we were talking about going through our personal top 5,
Drew did.
give Fayetteville State some love.
I got them 6 in my rankings last week, Jamie. I got them 6 last week.
Fayetteville State is clearly the 3rd best CIAA team, and I would rank most of that cluster of SIAC teams between Virginia Union and Fayetteville State. So while Fayetteville State has an impressive record on paper, I think that SIAC cluster has better quality wins. That would be my answer to that.
And they played better opponents too. Go look at the opponents that Fayetteville State has played. When you look at the record of opponents,
they got the win against Union.
And you're only beating people. Go. What is Fayetteville? Go look at this year. They're only beating people by. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. Go ahead. You keep talking. I'm gonna pull it up.
Single score games.
Exactly. One score, single possession games. That's all right. Go ahead.
I mean, it took a hurricane for them to beat Union. So
yeah, exactly. They beat Virginia Union in a monsoon hurricane. That shouldn't have counted. We can't hold that against Virginia Union. All right, what else you got there, Drew?
Alcorn State is going to. This comes from Romeo Carter. Alcorn State is going to win the championship game. They got an easy route. Plus, they only have to play FAMU. Plus, the only one time they played FAMU, they have won. What year was that they played FAMU? I mean, we know they haven't played
Orange Blossom Classic
since they rejoined the SWAC. So Romeo, you're going back to history. Talk about the one time they played FAMU that they beat them, and the last time they played FAMU was probably before most of the people who are on this podcast, listen to this podcast, were even born. Offensive, use your line, Brian. Miss me with that. You can come up with a better reason why Alcorn may beat FAMU, but you can't go back by prior history. We're not going to use that one for this argument. Next comment. Did you have anything on that, Brian?
Nothing.
Okay. Hey, great point, Joshua. Saturday's game between Albany State and Edward Waters will air live on the Black College Sports Network, 6 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you guys tune in to that, and make sure you share that with a friend. And let's see what other calls Joshua Jackson can come up to, because he will be the play-by-play voice for that game right here on the Black College Sports Network. 2 more comments, Brian.
Yeah.
The SWAC championship game could end up at Alcorn if FAMU does not win out. FAMU could still drop one and would still be hosting the championship game over a West opponent as of today, because everybody in the West has is 1 loss or 2 losses. Everybody in the West has 2 losses.
No, there's the three schools still have 1 loss. Grambling.
Okay, we have 1 loss. Okay. All right. But if it's they've got Prairie View heads up, so that'll determine that one. They've already beaten Southern, so they would have the tiebreak over Southern. Obviously, Alcorn would have to come down to the nerves and the math if they wind up with the same record as Alcorn. And same thing with Grambling, but Grambling has 2 losses, so they would have to drop 2 if they get tied with Grambling in order to determine that, and then the nerves would have to figure that one out. But interesting point. And our last one. Alcorn quarterback play has gotten better. FAMU's quarterback play is streaky, but FAMU's quarterback play is Musa is still the best quarterback in the SWAC when it's all said and done. He may not be everything that some of us Rattlers want him to be, and we get frustrated with Musa. But I'll take my quarterback over your quarterback any day.
Ditto that. Anything else?
All right. That's it on the comments.
All right. In all honesty, we appreciate everybody for taking time to comment. Oh, what year was that?
You just told your age, Steve, if you remember that.
was it in the 90s? Was it in the 90s?
I don't know what year was that.
I don't know. I didn't do a quick Google search. But I would imagine if Campbell remembers 86, okay.
Oh, you know something, Brian? I do remember what that was. That was the Air McNair era. It was the Air McNair era.
Which one,
Bam
Steve
and
or
Alcorn? Yes, Steve. It was in 93, I believe.
We played
94. We played Alcorn. I believe we played Alcorn in that era, if I remember correctly. It was 86. I thought we played Alcorn during the McNair era.
You have to look that up. All right, somebody, you guys are doing some good research right there. Let's see, Mr. Campbell's got 86. Has it been any time since 86?
86. I was in 8th grade.
Let's see how smart Google is. No, not smart enough, not fast enough. All right, we'll have to do some digging. Yeah, he said.
Oh, we didn't. All right, my bad. I thought we played during that era.
All right. Jesus.
Let's get to these polls, man.
Got them? Okay, yeah. Let's do that.
No. Got load
okay.
right quick.
I think I found something real quick while you're pulling up polls. I found a game from October 30th, 1982. This would be on the Alcorn website. It was played.
Of course.
Of course. It it was 1982 in Tallahassee, Florida. Alcorn State won 23-13. So now
I wonder if that was homecoming.
Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to dig deeper. I know FAMU has, and I've seen it before where they have a listing of teams that like records versus teams. I know FAMU has probably played Alcorn back in the Billy Nix and Jake Gaither days. But modern era, meaning last 30 years, that's probably your closest time. So, all right, let's get to the BCSN top 5, the new rankings, computer rankings through week number 7. Through week 7 of the season. This is our 3rd or 4th poll that we put out. And so, again, these are the computer 3rd. What is that, 3 fingers you put up?
4.
This is the 4th poll. So this is actually week 8 then. This is through week 8.
We did it after week 4, after week 5, after week 6, and now after week 7.
Okay, that's right. So we like to wait for the first 4 weeks of the season before we drop the new poll. So, okay, we've got 2 divisions here, the Division 1 and the non-Division 1. Of course, non-Division 1 made up of Division 2 and NAIA teams. So let's see what the computer says through week number 7. We can all scratch our head at the computer. Here we go. Let's see who's in the hunt. In the hunt right now. You got Miles, Tuskegee, and Allen University, all from out of the SIAC. As you can see, their records, all of them are 4-1 in conference play. Miles, technically, shouldn't it be? I'm looking at the total points. Really, shouldn't it be Allen at the? No, I'm looking at the wrong number. Okay, anyway, it's right. Okay, let's move to the top 5.
481.
Exactly. Let's move on. My eyes are getting blurry. All right, number 5 this week, Fort Valley State. Even though they lost to Benedict 48-6, where were they last week? You recall? I wish we could kind of.
They were either 4 or 5 last week.
All right, so not much of a drop if they were 4. They'll take on Morehouse this upcoming week. Number 4, Virginia Union.
I think these two teams flip-flopped.
Possibly
is what it was.
Possibly. Virginia Union coming in 6-1, 4-1. Defeated Bowie State 52-3. Wow, that's all I can say to that. Wow, 52-3. Only loss has come in a downpour against Fayetteville State. Next up, they've got homecoming against Lincoln, PA. That's a big game for Lincoln, so we'll see, can Virginia Union keep the winning going. Number 3. Yeah, that's going to surprise a lot of you, I'm sure. Florida Memorial coming in at number 3. 3-3 overall, 2-1 in conference play. They just lost the battle of, what do they call that? The Battle of Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens.
Yeah, to 16th ranked, nationally ranked St. Thomas, 31-17. They got Weber International this upcoming week. Pretty impressive that high-powered offense was held to just 17 points. Number 2 has been number 2 for quite a long time. That's Virginia State. Took care of business on homecoming against Bluefield State, 39-23. They're on the road, they're hosting Elizabeth City State this upcoming week, the Breast Cancer Awareness and Community Day. And then, of course, number 1, still number 1. That is the Benedict Tigers. Beat number 5, Fort Valley, 48-6. Their homecoming is this upcoming Saturday against Kentucky State. So just to recap, Benedict, Virginia State, Florida Memorial of the Sun Conference, NAIA, Virginia Union, and Fort Valley State. All right, Drew, let's you got to ask the question, because I know people will. I will too. How is Florida Memorial? Florida Memorial really the third ranked team? Interesting. What do you think? What do you think that's a product of?
Strength of schedule. When you look at Florida Memorial, they've played up twice this year, beating a Division II Edward Waters, who has proven to be better than a lot of people expected them to be.
So that's a quality win. That ends up being a quality win.
That winds up being a quality win. And as of right now, Grambling, losing to Grambling, goes down as a quality opponent, as long as Grambling continues to do what they have done in the West. Despite what they have done the last 2 weeks, that's still considered a quality victory for a quality defeat. And that's what I forget. They did put up 500 yards against an FCS team. They lost to a Bluefield University in overtime and put up like 48 points in a loss in overtime.
700 yards in that too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they
what is
beat
Bluefield
once they
doing
gotten into. I haven't looked to see what they are doing, but I do know once they've gotten into conference, they won 2 conference games. One of them against a Ave Maria team who was expected to do something within the Sun Conference, which is arguably one of the top conferences in NAIA football. So don't let the record speak for you. Don't let the record fool you against like-minded competition. They are doing good against like-minded competition. So, and then they just lost to the number 16 team in the nation. So that counts as a quality loss.
Okay. Bluefield, by the way, is Bluefield University. They are 3-3, 1-1 in their conference. So, just thought I'd put that out there.
So that goes down as a quality win. And good, Edward brings up a point, and just to kind of go through the Miles schedule, and then this hurts me to say as a Tuskegee fan, I am a Miles fan also, but you've got those two FCSs on your record: Albany State, Arkansas Pine Bluff. But look at what you've beaten in conference if you're Miles. Lane, Clark Atlanta, Central State. Those three teams have a combined 1 win.
Wow.
Of your victories. Oh, excuse me. And Morehouse. 4 teams that you have played have a combined 1 win.
Wow.
That's why Benedict by themselves has more win than the other opponents. And when you throw Arkansas Pine Bluff in there, also, Benedict has no, let's put this together. Benedict has more wins, the team who they lost to last week, than anybody else on Miles' schedule, including Alabama State. When you combine everybody else who they played, that's why Miles gets dropped down. No disrespect, but the computers don't like their strength of schedule based on that one factor.
Good point. Good point. All right. Well, let's go over to the Division I level, and let's see what we can glean from the Division I rankings through games played October 14th. What do we got here? The In the Hunt teams are a pair of Alabama schools that'll be fighting it out in the Magic City Classic in a couple of weekends, Alabama A&M and Alabama State. All right, let's go to number 5. Top 5 this week. Jackson State. I think they may have been 4 last week, but they are now 5. 4-3, 2-2. Overall, of course, lost to Alabama State 24-19. They get a travel to Mississippi Valley State this upcoming Saturday. And one more point, Drew. It should be noted, the computer doesn't look at margin of victory, does it? Not past a certain point, does it?
Correct.
Right. So even if you beat somebody by 50, it only really counts.
It stops at 17.
Right. And if you lose
2 possessions, so 16 or less, you get points. 17, you get the minimum amount of points.
And if you lose by 50 to someone,
it doesn't matter. Losing by 50 is the same as losing by 20. It's the same as losing by 17.
Number 4 is Hampton Pirates, and that's kind of why I brought that up. Hampton, after losing to Monmouth 61-10, dropped to 1-2 in CAA play. They are 3-3 right now. They play Delaware, host Delaware, I believe, this upcoming weekend. Number 3, Florida A&M Rattlers on a bye week. I believe that's the same spot they've been at the last 3 weeks as well, kind of sitting in that 3 spot. All right. Number 2 is Tennessee State. Defeated Norfolk State, of course, 24-17, and 4-2, and they host Lincoln, California. And then number 1 is North Carolina Central. They were on a bye this past week as well, and they began MEAC play, I believe, on Thursday night. So that'll be interesting. Yeah. All right. the summary, there it is. North Carolina Central, Tennessee State, fam. And like I said, Drew, I struggle. I'm gonna have to go look at the computer ratings. I just may roll dice. I don't know how I'm gonna pick teams 4 through 10 in my rankings, because it's a cluster trying to decide how you evaluate a bunch of mediocre teams. I'm sorry, average teams, whatever. Average.
You said, I think you did it right, Brian.
Well, maybe I did. Maybe sometimes people get offended when you call them mediocre. That's just to say average. By record, you are what you are. You are what your record says you are, and so be it. All right. Picks from last week. Drew finally hit the jackpot as he went 5-0 last week. And noted, let's note here, Drew avoided the one game that I initially
I would have lost.
Yes, initially, Edward Waters and Tuskegee was part of the pick 5, but Drew protested loud enough that I had to switch it with Allen and Albany State. And so by Drew avoiding picking Tuskegee, he ends up 5-0. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to 5-0. So he's 5-0, 24-12 overall. I am 2-3. I went 2-3, only winning Benedict and Tennessee State. I thought Livingstone, they came close. Jackson State came close. Albany State, not so close. So at best, I probably could have been 4-1, but I ended up 2-3, and now I am sitting at perfect 500, 18-18. Disgusting. I don't know what to do with myself, but that feels like I feel like a lot of the teams in black college football average right now. That's that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of where I'm at. Let's see. All right. Again, this upcoming week, did you decide on our games for this week, or did you think about
Yes
our games?
Yes.
You thought about it?
Yes, I did. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you the 5 that I picked, and then I'm going to give you 3 honorable mentions and see if you want to move any one of those up and bump another game down.
Okay, hold on. Let me so what are you giving me here? What are you giving me? What, just the games, not necessarily your pick? Just
no, I'm giving you the games.
Okay, first. Give me the games. Give me the games.
Then I give you the pick.
All right.
Okay. Albany State, Edward Waters, which will be seen right here on the Black College Sports Network as our SIAC feature game of the week.
That is at Edward
Moving
Waters.
Over,
all right.
That is at Edward Waters. Moving over to the CIAA, Fayetteville State at Johnson C. Smith. No, Fayetteville State hosting Johnson C. Smith as our CIAA feature game of the week. Moving over to the MEAC, Howard hosting Norfolk.
Ooh.
In the SWAC is interesting because every game in the SWAC has a clear-cut favorite when you look at them on paper. So I picked the one neutral site game of the week in the SWAC, and that's Southern traveling to Jacksonville to take on Bethune.
That's fair. Neutral site. All right.
And in to round it out, we got to go back to the SIAC.
Okay.
Allen traveling to Miles for homecoming. Those were the 5 games that I picked for the week. Now, honorable mention games that you can consider moving.
Okay.
I've got Langston and Arkansas Baptist. Let's be real, Brian. This game is only on here because it features 2 of our NAIA HBCU schools. Langston will be hosting that game against Arkansas Baptist. That's the only reason I put that on the list.
Okay.
And to give the NAIA some love. Gotcha. The next one is going to be in the CIAA. That is Lincoln traveling to Virginia Union.
What? Lincoln who?
Lincoln, PA.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Traveling to Virginia Union. And the final game for consideration is the Thursday night matchup, which is going to be on ESPN. That is Morgan State and North Carolina Central. And let's think about this. Morgan State essentially has had a double bye due to unforeseen incidents with their on their campus, with the homecoming being canceled, and then the actually scheduled bye this week. So they're coming off of a double bye to take on North Carolina Central, who will be home on a short week, though. No, check that. Central is also coming off of a bye. So both of these teams are coming in very well rested.
Right. One team has one team is off been 17 days and the other team is 10 days.
10 days. And what's interesting, just moving ahead, North Carolina Central actually has consecutive Thursday night games. I don't think I've ever seen that on a college football schedule, but they have 2 consecutive Thursday night games. One's away, one is at home. Morgan State is hosting Central.
Okay.
Do you want to replace any of those first 5 with one of those last 3?
And I'm just kind of browsing through the SWAC schedule.
And I know the one that I would be looking at. There's nothing in the SWAC.
Yeah, is everybody on bye? Really? Except for there's only a handful of teams playing this weekend.
Yes.
It feels that way. Okay.
Next week we get the 28th is when we finally get to a full SWAC schedule. The 28th and November 4th, we have a full SWAC schedule, 2 consecutive weeks.
Finally, man. Okay, so I kind of want to move the Central and Morgan State game in place of the Norfolk State Howard game. I really.
That's fair.
I think there's put it like this. Remember when Morgan traveled to North Carolina A&T on a Thursday night and A&T hadn't lost in like forever? I think this was 2019 when that happened. And they nearly they beat North Carolina A&T. I got a feeling, let's move that game. I think that's going to be more exciting than Norfolk State and Howard.
All right, I could go for that.
You good with that? Okay,
I'm good.
All right. So we'll make a note of that. Okay, so the other games I'm good at. I just I think you got good matchups there, all compelling matchups. All right. So since you picked them, you want me to go first, I guess?
Sure. Let's flip it up this week.
All right. So we'll start with the Albany State Edward Waters match. How do you go away from the hot hand? Here's what I think the challenging thing for Albany State is. Seeing what Allen did to them should make Edward Waters like salivate. When they cut the film on and watch what Allen did to Albany State in that first half, and Jaron Russell, man, he should be. I'm just gonna go with Edward Waters. I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm going with Edward Waters, even though hey, look, Quinn Gray's coming back to Jacksonville, so there'll be a bit of a homecoming there for Coach Gray. It may not be a happy homecoming. I think Edward Waters gets that one, so I'm going with E-Dub.
I'm going to do it. Edward Waters, one of the hottest teams offensively in the SIAC. Albany State has really not shown me the ability that they can move the ball consistently on offense. So I'm rolling with Edward Waters in this game.
All right. Next game is that CIAA matchup you spoke about, Johnson C. Smith and Fayetteville State. As we read from that article on HBCU Sports, this one could determine the South. Is Johnson C. Smith really ready? Are they ready to, could Fayetteville State's reign as the king of the South be so short-lived that just after winning,
it's been 5 years, Brian. How is it short?
Well, I'm talking about okay, yeah, you're right. You're talking about, but I'm talking about the winning the conference. You won the conference after winning the South for all these years. I feel like that kind of made you the king of the South now. Obviously, I get it. I'm going with Johnson C. Smith, man. I'm going out on a limb. The fact that they played a close game, Fayetteville, this past week, that was a game that Livingstone was a challenger, so to speak. I think Johnson C. Smith gets him this week. I'm going with the road team.
Brian, if I was picking first, I would have picked Johnson C. Smith probably also. But since you picked first, and to add some drama to our picks contest, I'm going to pick Fayetteville State. And until they get beaten by somebody in the South, I am going to have to ride with Fayetteville State. And that's why I was kind of torn with that game. I love what Coach Flowers is doing over there at Johnson C. Smith. But until somebody shows me that they could beat Fayetteville State in that South Division, you got to roll with the Kings of the South.
I see. Roll with the team. Roll with the team that you can do that when you're 6 games up. That's you using your privilege when you're 6 games up. All right.
That's a wine and cheese in me, man.
Southern at Bethune-Cookman on a neutral site in Jacksonville. Is the human jukebox coming? I don't know. I should text Carlos and find out. Is the human jukebox coming? Southern had a no? They didn't have a bye. They had a home. Well, they had a bye. They played Lincoln. It's like a bye. The band was obligated to play, but tough loss for Bethune. Ooh, see, this is where it sucks going first because I can't piggyback off of you. I'm going Bethune. I'm upset. I'm calling it upset here. Bethune over Southern. For the one day they're going to catch somebody crowd. That this is look. You blew homecoming, so why not? With a good crowd, 25,000 plus show up in Jacksonville, the city of misery for my Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, go ahead and beat Southern. Who you got?
Well, Brian, misery loves company, and the Bethune Wildcats love to keep bad company. This is a game Southern has to win, which is what scares the hell out of me because this will be the game that Southern loses. But I'm gonna ride with Southern on this one, man. I'm gonna ride with them, but it scares the hell out of me because this is a game they should win, and that's the one that they'll lose. But I still got the Jags. Mm-hmm. There's something about the team. There's something about having a team with the nickname Jaguars in the home. And playing in the stadium that hosts the Jaguars. So
I see what you
that's
did
what
there.
I'm going with.
What you did there.
Jaguars and Jaguars.
Okay, this next one is a doozy. SIC matchup here. Allen at Miles. You really sold Miles and why I should be ranking Miles where I want to rank them. I do have them rated ahead of Allen, so conceivably this is this could be a 4 versus 5 or a 5 versus 6 matchup. And once I finish rolling dice and figure out where I'm going to put these teams on my rankings, I want to pick Allen. Miles having a bye week. You
Miles
stay
has
with
had
the
a
hot. Did Miles play last week? Who did Miles play last week?
They had a bye against Morehouse.
Oh, see, look at that. That's cold. Damn. I got to think against the establishment. The establishment is that you take Miles. Allen is what Miles was a decade ago, 15 years ago, right? That team that
2012.
nobody really, 2012, a decade ago, right? Almost 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Allen is that team now. I'm going chalk. I'm going Miles at home. Tough. I wanted to go. I want to go Allen. Won't be surprised if Allen wins, but I'm going chalk with Miles at home.
Well, Brian, I've been to a Miles homecoming.
Okay.
Miles homecoming atmosphere. Had I not gone to Tuskegee, I would rank the Miles homecoming atmosphere up there. Speaking of Tuskegee, over 31,000 at Tuskegee's homecoming. As a matter of fact, official attendance, I saw somebody else put it in the chat earlier. 31,726. Let me repeat that. 31,726. That homecoming attendance outdrew some of the classics that we've seen this year. Anyway, I digress. Miles, for a school with only around 1,000 students, is going to pack out their place. It will be close to 10,000 in that stadium, if not well above that 10,000 mark in that stadium. I don't know if Allen is ready for that atmosphere that you're going to walk into at Miles. So, with that being said, Golden Bears over the Yellow Jackets.
Okay. I like it. Okay, and that leads us into North Carolina Central traveling to Morgan State. Morgan State's been off an extra week due to the shooting that occurred on campus 2 weekends ago for their homecoming. This past weekend was a normally scheduled bye week, so a lot of time to just be ready. Morgan State is going to be itching to play, and I think this is going to be the best you're going to see Morgan play, and at the right time, right at the start of MEAC play. And wouldn't it be, Drew, I hate to steal your word, it would be so MEAC-ish if the Bears take down the champ on Thursday Night Football and just send everybody into a frenzy trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen in the MEAC for the next 4 weeks after this opening week. So with that said, I will take the Bears by a field goal. I'm going to say a last-second field goal by the Bears wins the ball game, something like 27-24. Morgan State all game. We got those fighting.
I know it's a feel-good story, Brian. If Morgan State would come and win this game, and shout out to the Baltimore family and the Bowie State family for everything that they've had to deal with over the last couple of years. But you know what I'm saying? No matter what goes on around you, Brian, life continues, and that is what has happened for Central. They've had this sense of normality. They're going through their normal routines. So, and when you have a team that's been there before, David Wilson is still trying to teach Morgan what to do when they get there. We know Coach Oliver has been there. He knows what to do. So, with that being said, fly like an eagle to the sea. And let the spirit carry me home. Yeah, you remember that song?
Oh man. Okay. He's singing, doing ballads here to North Carolina Central. So you're going to North Carolina Central. Okay. Just to recap, Drew and I both take Edward Waters over Albany State. We are split on the Johnson C. Smith at Fayetteville State. I'm taking the Golden Bulls. Drew is taking the Broncos. We are split on the Southern Bethune-Cookman neutral site game in Jacksonville this Saturday, as the Southern Jaguars will be playing in the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm taking Bethune. Drew's taking Southern. We both think that Miles comes through on homecoming over Allen. And then we are split again for the third game in the Thursday night matchup between North Carolina Central at Morgan State. I'm taking the Bears. He's taking the Eagles. So there's our pick 5 for this week. Just want to run down there again. There were 15 schools hosting homecomings. Upset alert. Who should now? 6 of them. I think going into last week it was 6-6, right? I think that was the record going in homecoming.
Through the first 3 weeks, there were 14 homecoming games scheduled. 13 of them were actually played. We know we lost the Morgan State homecoming game. There were 6 road victories. Last week alone, out of the 14 homecoming games played, there were 6 road victories. So there have been 12 out of 27 thus far this year, Brian.
Wow. So, if anything, that tells me of these 15 games that are going to be played, I'm going to say that there's going to be at least 5 of them. Yeah. I'm going to say there's going to be at least 5 upsets. Here's the list. And you guys, as you hear it, call it out. UAPB hosting Alcorn. That is 3:00 Eastern. That's on HBCU Go. Benedict hosting Kentucky State.
There's one.
That is 2:00 Eastern. Well, you think that's an upset?
Alcorn is on the road. No. I was talking about the Alcorn.
Oh, I got you. Oh, okay.
Alcorn,
you were late on the. Okay, you were late on the reply. Sorry.
Okay, that's just a delay of the internet.
Gotcha. 2 Eastern. That game is on ESPN Plus. Clark Atlanta hosting Central State. That's a 1:00 Eastern game. Delaware State.
That could be one.
Hosting South Carolina State at noon.
That could be one.
I mean, I lost all kinds of. I don't know what I think about South Carolina State now after that mess from Saturday.
It depends on which South Carolina State team you get.
Right. Fayetteville State, one of our games. That's a homecoming game. Johnson C. Smith coming in to take on homecoming. I should have thought about that. Now I'm upset that I took Johnson C. Smith. That's all right. I won't change my pick. That's a 2:00 Eastern matchup in Fayetteville. In Miami Gardens, Florida Memorial hosting Weber International. That's a 1 p.m. Eastern game. Fort Valley State hosting Morehouse, 2 Eastern, homecoming in the Valley. Howard hosting Norfolk State in Green Stadium on ESPN.
Depends on which version of these 2 teams show up.
Okay, that's a noon kickoff.
That game could go either way.
Lane is hosting Virginia Lynchburg, 3:00 Eastern in Jackson, Tennessee. Lane better watch out. That might be an upset. Lynchburg got a win under their belt. Ooh, watch out. Langston hosting Arkansas Baptist at W.E. Anderson Stadium. That's a 3:00 Eastern. Coach Farasi, I'm sure he'd be watching that game. Too bad it's not being streamed anywhere. No upset there. Livingstone on the blue turf hosting Shaw at Alumni Memorial Stadium. That's 1:30 Eastern.
That could go either way.
I'd be shocked. Shaw is.
Hey, Livingstone almost beat Fayetteville last week. So
that's my point. That's my point. I'd be shocked if they laid down to Shaw. Another homecoming was our top 5 game. Miles hosting Allen. That's 5 Eastern in Sloan Alumni Stadium. So that game will get some nighttime light action too. That'll be interesting. Savannah State hosting Tuskegee. 3 Eastern in Theodore A. Wright
revenge
Stadium.
tour begins. The revenge tour begins.
Why is that a revenge tour?
Because we lost on homecoming. We're gonna ruin everybody. We're gonna ruin them. You got the nerve to schedule Tuskegee for homecoming? You done lost your mind. Y'all done lost your mind over there on the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, stop it. Virginia Union hosting Lincoln, PA at Hovey Field, 1 Eastern. Winston-Salem State hosting St. Aug at 1 Eastern as well. It's also Senior Day there for the Rams. And that is the 15th one. Yeah, so this is your largest weekend. Last week, yesterday, and today. These are your largest weekends. So you picked again 5. 5 are the yeah. So
and one thing,
Dennis. Appreciate you, Dennis. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing I've learned about Tuskegee, and only the Tuskegee people understand is we don't do good with early homecoming. October or the first Saturday in November, we don't do good at Tuskegee. Something about playing when it's still warm outside don't sit well.
Okay, you threw me for a loop on that one. All right. What else is there? What else has happened that we didn't touch on? It's time to go, but did we cover everything? Do we feel like we have a good sense of what happened yesterday? What's going to happen this upcoming week? Looking forward to the my Rattlers being back on the field. Let me give an early heads up, Drew, because I think we're going to try to do a watch party again this upcoming Saturday for the Texas Southern game. I just haven't figured out where though. So be on the look. Come in Wednesday. The ONG Strike Zone Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, on the Black College Sports Network, on Facebook and YouTube at ONG Strike Zone. And we may have some details on what we're going to do for the watch party. It's in Texas, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, what about you?
I don't know if because we kind of rushed at the beginning, we didn't get deep into it. The GCAC and their expansion. Let's think about this, Brian. You now have a conference that goes from Ohio to Texas,
okay,
over to South Carolina,
okay,
and down to the Virgin Islands.
Sounds like the new
13.
SEC.
They would be. Stop it. No, it's more like the Big 12, Brian. I mean, the Big 10.
The new Big 12. That too.
Big 10. Yeah.
Them too.
But, when we think about this is a conference, let's be honest. Talladega, Edward Waters, Xavier, all left at the same time. We left them for dead. Wasn't there a fourth school that left also with them?
That was the
pandemic, Brian. That was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
all those schools left them for one reason or another during the pandemic.
And we were left with 6 schools,
and they did. Wait a minute. And they didn't have a conference commissioner. They had an interim conference commissioner during that time because Dr. Baker Barnes was still the athletic director at Dillard during that time.
Yeah, but she was more from what my understanding was at that time,
she was serving the role, but they had not officially named her
full time. Yeah, I got you. I never look. I thought she was like out of the role as the AD at Dillard, and really more so, it just hadn't been official. But I got you.
right. But coming out of the pandemic, I mean, they were left for dead, total dead. And then you add a Wiley, you add Fisk,
yep,
and then you add Oakwood to bring you back up to 8.
Yep,
right. Then you add UVI, Virgin Islands, who's coming in this year. That brings you to 9. Due to being a good steward of the HBCU spirit, when Talladega, who left the Southern States Athletic Conference, was not able to make their transition to the Division II level because of president change and athletic director change, you graciously let them come basically squat in your conference for a year, possibly 2 years, realistically 2 years. But Talladega is not going to be sitting there long in your conference. So they're not in your long-term plans. But that still puts you at 10 this year. And then you have the nerve to go out and add 3 boys schools. Wilberforce, which was totally not expected. Voorhees, who was a former member of the GCAC, coming back to the GCAC. And then Stillman coming in. So not only have you guaranteed yourself, as long as nobody leaves, 2 bids in basketball, but you've also showed up your baseball program and all your other sports, volleyball, softball, and track. So, and they say they aren't done, Brian. Did you see that post that I sent you guys where they said they aren't done?
No, I did. I missed that.
And I'm just purely speculating on this. I see the next fish out there.
Who?
Harris Stowe.
Huh. Okay.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Interesting.
Especially if for basketball, you're already into Ohio, which is a basketball hotbed. St. Louis, and that's my hometown, is a basketball hotbed. And sneaker talk, yes, Talladega is a school that SIAC should have their eye on. The SIAC already has their eye on Talladega. It's just until Talladega gets their act together and do what they need to do to be accepted into Division II, the SIAC cannot touch them.
Just one of the takeaways that I gleaned from the press release that Stillman put out in 2024-25, the GCAC will have 10 teams in women's volleyball, and I should say at least 10 teams in women's volleyball, women's basketball, men's basketball, and baseball, earning each sport 2 automatic bids in the NAIA championships. That's big. That's big. So, I mean, yeah, it's amazing turnaround to see where the GCAC was when we kind of first started working with them, and then saw, the departure of certain schools, to see their growth, where they, they've created a group of schools that rivals the SWAC, the CIAA, and the SIC. And that's pretty impressive. Congratulations to GCAC, Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes, and the folks there. They've got something. They got something really going there, and so
oh yeah, Jeff
doing all
Roberts
that
brings
without
up
football.
another one. Yeah, and Jeff Roberts brings up another point. St. Aug interim coach. Coach was dismissed on Thursday, I believe. Coach at St. Aug was dismissed.
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind
they
of
said playing an illegal player.
that to me sounds real shady, fishy. Because he played an ineligible player for 3 plays. So first off, did he know? Now, if you fired him because he knew the guy or the kid was ineligible and he still played him, okay. But 3 plays? Did he only play him for 3 plays? And did he not play him after 3 plays once it became official that the kid wasn't eligible? Is that why the kid didn't play anymore after 3 plays? You know, shortest tenure in a long while. But look, the rumor is that they want to try to get Crow Martin there, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Bryan, A, they may have been looking for an excuse. B, coaches know who's eligible, who's not eligible. They get this list all the time from their FARs. That's faculty athletic representative, or who's eligible, who's not eligible. So that's a somebody was doing their job, or somebody set them up. One of the two.
They're calling for a setup now. Wow. Okay. Well, anything's possible. All right.
And then there's a new athletic director, Johnson C. Smith. Jeff, I'm not aware of that. So if any information on that, send that to us, because I hadn't seen that release on that. Had you seen that, Bryan?
No, I had not. So we'll have to look into that.
We'll have to do some digging on that.
I mean, is he talking about new? Is he saying new as of like this past week, or new this season?
That's what I say. I'm not.
All right, we'll have to.
I'm not quite sure on that.
All right. Can we shut it down? Can we close the? Can we turn out?
Let's pick up this show. Let's pick up this show and get out of here. We get long way happy homecoming to those 15 institutions that are hosting homecoming. May your homecoming be better than my homecoming was this past week. But I still got one more reprieve at it, Bryan. I got one more reprieve. FAMU in 2 weeks.
Yep. Get ready, Prairie View. Go ahead and get ready to come on to Tallahassee and get an experience for the greatest homecoming in the universe. Y'all can have the greatest homecoming on earth. We just got the greatest in the universe.
Just don't buy a hotel while you're down there.
Well, look, you do better to bring a camper, bring an RV. Put a RV on the back of your car and haul that around, and that'll be. Actually, that's an idea. I need to look into that. Like, what would that cost me? If I get a little mini portable RV that I just trail around with me, that might be actually cheaper than.
What's that Camp in America thing when you rent the Winnebagos?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking
that's what you need to do.
I'm gonna need to do that. I need to do that. Need to look into that. Okay, time to go. Thank you guys for watching, following, and subscribing the show. However you're watching it, if you're watching it on any of our Facebook pages, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you are in tune with updates and things like that. Anytime we post a new video or a new show, especially if you're on the YouTube channels, hit the bell so that way you get the alerts. We try to put those notifications out as soon as we can. Please go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can find it. And then the BCSN Pod Zone is our podcast of all of the shows. So our show, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more as they will be coming. So you can check out all of those shows in podcast audio format, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google and Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, all of those wonderful places. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for sharing your thoughts, interacting with us, and hanging in there with us tonight. For A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Always a pleasure. Let's have a great week, and happy homecoming to the 15 schools, alumni who are going to be celebrating. Hopefully you all celebrate. It'd be nice to say 15 up, 15 down. That's how it should be. So hopefully all of you guys will have a taste of victory to celebrate on Homecoming Saturday next weekend. Thanks for watching us. Continue watching all the programming on the Black College Sports Network. Peace out, everybody.
Holla. Travel light.
But you stay hard.